Hello. Let's see. Is everything set up correctly? Hello, hello. It looks like it is. It looks like the appropriate buttons are pushed. Everything seems to be working, I think. Amazing. Hello, everyone. I am doing great. I am finding ways to entertain myself while we wait for the next prelude to get here. The buttons are buttoning indeed. All right. Shall we get into game? Waiting for the new pack to grind. I am waiting. So I have something that I'm working on. Of course, always. A video for this week. Surprising to no one is I have this Valor video, right? That I've been working on for a while, literally since before TennoCon, that keeps getting pushed back because it's like, oh, well, I gotta talk about this first, right? So it's a toss-up for whether this week is going to be Valor or if we're going to talk about the dev workshop that we've been waiting on. Yeah, the dev workshop is what I'm hoping for. Like, that's what I would really love to be digging into this week. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see when it's ready for us. All right. You can pick up the seed from below. We can! You can pick up the seed from below. I used to go all the way up into the platform as well until I saw someone else pick it up from below and I was like, oh, that's so much easier. The workshop will appear as soon as you release your video. It is known. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in a place right now where, like, it doesn't feel like making dev or like making build videos is wise, because too many things are not working. So my advice to people who are trying to build things for P15 is just play whatever feels fun to you. Just do whatever feels good, because while you theoretically can like min-max builds and it can be very fun to do that, it's not necessary for any of the content in Soulframe. Soulframe can be played very comfortably without min-maxing, which I think is I think that is, by the way, a good place for the game to be, where you don't have to min-max if you don't want to, and it is still completable. But if you like min-maxing, you can do that, and that has a reward for it. Cool. But right now, a lot of that stuff that you would tweak for min-maxing just breaks randomly. Am I happy with the DPS nuke direction? Well, I feel like that's like pretty clearly not my vibe. But also, I don't think it's the developer's vibe. Also, like, I don't think that that is what they were hoping to go with for it. And I think that this like kind of experimental stuff is something that we can and should expect in a pre-alpha. That like they're going to test out different concepts and see how they play. Because you could have something that seems like a good idea on paper, and then you put it into the game and you're like, oh, that did not work out as well as we hoped. I do that all the time when I'm making videos where I'm like, yeah, this clip will look great here. And then I put it in and I'm like, oh no, that was a complete waste of an hour and a half. I'm going to take that out. So I think that they were probably trying some stuff to see what would work. And it just isn't, I think that the like big explosions just don't fit super well with the pacing of Soulframe. I think it kind of, like it's something that would fit a lot better in a different game, but just doesn't fit super well here. So they gotta try something else. It is what it is. They said in Discord that September 4th they will have Soulframe info in the Warframe dev stream. They did, but they said it would be info and that it would be like a, like some news highlights, but it's not going to be like the Soulframe dev stream. DE Sarah actually got into that thread and clarified that there's like also we're going to have our own Soulframe dev stream at some point. There is going to be more information specifically for Soulframe, and that we're going to get like some little like small highlights. This makes perfect sense in that context though, because they're doing Tenno VIP in Seoul in South Korea, and so it would make sense that they would want to highlight both games while they're there. Even though it's the Warframe dev stream. So I think that makes sense. Hello, you started a week ago. You're trying to level up each weapon type while doing quests. That's a good thing to be doing right now. I hope the awkward teenager phase is Soulframe right now, and then it passes. I think that we are. I think that that's kind of what the pre-alpha phase is all about, right? You're kind of seeing what works and what doesn't, figuring out what things to keep developing and whatnot. Got my first Moonsteel the other day, a Falx in the Glades. I am on the hunt for a Moonsteel anything. I mean, obviously I want Moonsteel bows, but I just want more Moonsteel. Mostly because I can trade it for the ones that I want, no matter what I find. Legacy items? What do you mean by legacy items? Your high legendary rank in Warframe. Thank you so much for the gifted subs, Endak. What should we do? Let's go Garenrude. Let's go Garenrude. I think that'll be good. You feel like I'm just lost running in circles? I put out a new player guide specifically for that because there's a lot in the game right now, and it has chapters so that you can skip past the stuff that you already know. So if you have like a bit of a footing in the game, but you're not like completely new, you don't want to fully start over, you can click to whatever chapter is going to be helpful. I might even have a command like explanation new player guide. Let's see. Did I set up that command? I did. If you do exclamation new player, it'll send you a link to my guide. Look at that. Past me is so prepared. All right. So my thought is that I'm going to do a Koga while I chat with y'all. And we're going to go from like Curlail, just like all the way around, hit up as many Agari as I can. See how high I can get this Koga before I die. And see if we can get a Moonsteel anything while I chat about all the stuff that I want to see in P16. First and foremost being test dummies. Test dummies. All right, we're going to have to play this music shrine before I start my Koga, though. Test dummies. Something. Of course. Is it not working in YouTube chat? Why is it not working in YouTube chat? It should be. Riker, did the link come up there? Or did I just not see the link? Or is it not coming up? If it's not coming up, I'll fix it. I probably have to wait until I'm offline to fix it, but I'll leave myself a note that I have to fix that. Probably made it wrong. Well, but I still need to know if I set up the bot incorrectly. Oh, I need to actually use my potion. You don't see one? All right. You don't do that on YouTube. Let's find out. I probably have to log in somewhere that I'm not logged in or something. I'm just typing myself a note that it's not working in YouTube chat. Duly noted. I will figure that out on between now and next weekend, and it will be working for the next stream. Okay. I have my game music on today, and I'm excited about it. I hope it doesn't bug. Hello. had your second Moonsteel drop recently and find the current gameplay loop a little boring? Here's my thought on Soulframe gameplay loop. I think that whether or not you find the current gameplay loop of Soulframe boring has a lot to do with how much you enjoy playing the pact and grip type that you're playing. I think that making the gameplay loop feel fun right now is relying pretty hard on there being like base game mechanics that you enjoy. It continues to be fun for me because I really enjoy archery and the archery in Soulframe. And it stops being fun when I find myself like hitting up against too many like UI bugs and things. That's why like you will notice there are certain pacts that I've been avoiding lately that I don't play as much as maybe I did when they first came out, and it's because I'll just know that like if I do that, I'm gonna start getting frustrated and enjoy the game less. So I think that I know me enjoying archery, so shocking. I think if you want to like grind away at finding your Moonsteel, it helps to switch up which packs you're playing. I think it's worth keeping in mind that like we are on the tutorial island, right? This is the first island of what will supposedly be many when the game launches and goes into past alpha. Yeah. Okay, I see some debate about drops and level. Here's the thing. In past preludes, we had collected what I would say is not like a hugely statistically significant, but like enough to be fairly confident amount of data about your drops and what enemy level does to drops. And when, like, during that, I think this was like in 14.5, right? Back then, at least, your level had a noticeable impact on the craftwork tier of your drops. And this is something that Steve had said would be the case, and that tracked. In P15, I can say, anecdotally vibes-based, I have noticed an increase in the average craftwork tier of drops. I have heard from people that they believe that Moonsteel has a higher chance of dropping in Koga. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we have enough data to be able to say that confidently. I feel like the drop rate of Moonsteel is too rare, and too many of the people who are grinding hardcore to get Moonsteel and other things are always grinding in Koga because the craftwork tier is higher in Koga. And so I think that might be skewing the data a little bit, or skewing our like experience, our perspective of things. So I am not doing this in Koga because I think that Koga is going to increase my chance of getting Moonsteel. I think that I'm doing this in Koga because I think Koga is going to increase my chance of getting a drop that I might want, even if it's not Moonsteel, if that makes sense, right? Yeah, I also have had a decent number of, not a decent number, well, I don't know, I guess it depends what you call a decent number. I've also had some Moonsteel drop. Do I want that? No. And they like almost exactly half of them dropped in Koga and half of them dropped not in Koga. So my personal experience is that it does not matter. But since you can get things like craftstone or cord stones from Noble and up, I'm going to do my farming in Koga and get better drops all around. I need to make sure I don't actually die, though, because we are in Koga. Yes, I know Smooth was one of the people who thinks that Koga is giving higher tier drops. Again, I mean, the amount of data that you need to be confident about something like this, I don't think is something that a single player can adequately provide. It's not that I don't believe that Smooth is experiencing what he's experiencing. I'm sure he is. But that's just not a big enough data set for me to be like, yes, this is definitely how it works, right? Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing, burbs? All right, you guys need to chill while I figure out what the bird wants me to do. What am I defending? Where is it? Is it you? Okay, that was one of them. Who else is burning stuff? And where are they? And what are they burning? Oh, I hear shouting. Is it you? Why are you standing in a building? I don't know. Problem solved. Okay. I feel like the fort objectives are a little spicy. All right. When folks are done, when the Ode are done shooting at me, I will catch up on chat. How many times in a stream have I stopped to pay attention to chat and died in the middle of it? So many times. So many times. Okay, hello. How to activate the buff icons above the HP? These icons that you're seeing above my HP bar are debuffs, mostly. The 3 red ones are all debuffs, and that's because I am in Koga. Those are the debuffs that I get from drinking the Koga potion and being in Koga mode. And then the little blue star that you see above my bar, that is a grace buff from playing a music shrine and getting a little bit of a short grace buff. And then the weapon quality increase buff that you see there is a blessing from 4 days ago that just never disappears from my bar. It is one of the many things that's buggy right now. Can't wait for the Tempers Dev Workshop. Agree. That is also what I am eagerly awaiting. Eagerly awaiting. I got a project. I got a project in the works for this week, but it will be happily delayed to next week if we can talk about the dev workshop instead. Sorry, this project's not going anywhere. It'll get done. It'll get to you, regardless. Isn't there a blessing that increases rarity drops? So the blessing that you see on my bar right now, that the little sword with the arrow up, that's the farthest left buff, that is theoretically that blessing. But again, it's been on my bar. I've had this for a while. It seems to be bugs or stuck or something. I don't know if it's actually doing anything or not. I don't know. It's just been there for a while. Sometimes my blessings get stuck and then they just stay until they decide to leave. I've had other blessings come and go in the time that I've had that one. I don't know why. Hello, Zegan Hive. I'm having a good time. We just got started. What is max level right now? It is 18. Just below 19. I will show you. I'll hop into my Nightfold in just a moment. You feel you have to play Koga to play efficiently between Cordstones and Lamprite. You don't really, though. I mean, the increase in item rarity that you get from doing Koga is noticeable, but it's not huge. This is one place where I think they actually fit a pretty nice balance. I'm sure that there are many people who like to grind Koga who wish that they had even more incentive. This is the max level right now. Right here. Not quite 19. I'm sure that there are some people who wish that there were even more incentive to do Koga. That you had a much more noticeable difference in the rarity. And I kind of don't think so. I think that it is nice to have it be a reward but not so much of a reward. I can talk. Not so much of a reward that it feels like a requirement. And I feel like that is a tough balance to hit. And like, you know, I think this is one area where they hit that balance pretty nicely. I think a place where they maybe didn't hit that balance pretty well is with grace multipliers, right? Like I think that, you know, your extra headshot, extra damage, extra stealth damage bonuses for running grace should be a reward, but not be such a heavy incentive that you don't feel like it's worthwhile to do anything else. And that is not what we currently have. The reward is too great such that foregoing the reward feels like a punishment, even if it's not designed that way. Whereas with the Koga versus non-Koga item quality level, I think that they have hit that balance very nicely where you are rewarded for doing Koga, but not so much that you couldn't get similar results from grinding in normal mode. Anyway. You're quite new if you may ask, what pact am I using right now? I am using Garen Rude. This is the first Fable pact that you get access to, so this is one that you could definitely use. In the future, as you get higher level enemies, rewards are balanced out between Kolga and normal. We'll have to see. I don't know that we can assume anything about what higher levels are going to be like right now. I think there's just a lot of stuff that's a little wonky with the game. Kind of understandably, because they just changed a whole bunch of stuff. And so we'll have to figure out, or we'll have to kind of see how this plays out in the future. I wouldn't take anything the way that it is right now as concretely gonna be the foundation necessarily for the future. I think just thinking back on how much things have changed over time. Yeah, I don't know. Is this Juniper Moonsteel? It is. I traded this Moonsteel. I have not actually gotten a Moonsteel bow with my own name on it yet. But Lugal traded this Moonsteel to me. Blessings are certainly bugged. Yes, blessings are bugged. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's bugged. I hope that folks don't take me talking about the stuff that's bugged in the game as like a criticism, like a hard criticism, because this is a pre-alpha. I think that P15 has been one of our more buggy updates, and I'm going to guess that the reason for that is TennoCon. That they just had a lot going on for TennoCon, a lot to prepare for it, and so more things than usual both got passed into the live build and also did not make it into the immediate hotfixes before they got swamped by TennoCon. And I think that since TennoCon, my guess, again, is that they've been focused on getting things ready for P16. And I think that that is very appropriate, right? Like, if they know that they're about to drop a new build, it does not make sense for them to spend a lot of extra time and effort and energy fixing the old build if they can push those fixes into the new build. So I think that there would be some things that are like, if they're, you know, progress halting, that they would fix them. But for the most part, the game is going just fine. And so we're going to have to wait for P16, I think, for a lot of the fixes that we want. Yeah, the alpha is not the finished product. I agree with that, Coralia, that, you know, we are seeing things to take shape in real time. That said, I mean, there are also, I also don't think it's totally unreasonable for players to be looking to the current release as like an indication of where it's going, right? Like it's got to be somewhere in the middle where we can see this as like the sketch and give our feedback on like, oh, this part of the sketch I really like, this part of the sketch I don't. I feel like more and more this is becoming less sketchy and more like a cohesive drawing. I feel like I'm pushing this analogy too far. I feel like there are parts of Warframe that I feel like there are parts of Soulframe that feel very polished and ready and done and like, why don't we just show this to the whole world? And then there are parts where I'm like, oh, I can see I can see how early this concept is. And I mean, I think that's kind of great. I think that's kind of exciting to see like these parts of the game that are taking shape and fully developing, and then these new limbs growing on this metaphorical tree, I guess. I don't know. I think they keep referring it to pre-alpha because of possible system changes. So, you know, when I first started really digging into Soulframe and thinking about the development of it and covering it on the Tubes of You, I did a little bit of research into game development so that I could have a better sense of like what is the difference between an alpha and a beta, and what to expect from that. Because, you know, if they're describing Soulframe as a pre-alpha, surely there is a reason for that. And I'm going to paraphrase for y'all what I learned, but understand that, like, I don't have a background in game development, so I'm paraphrasing something, essentially as a layperson. A game in beta is one where like the systems are done. Like how the game works is basically done, and they're working out bugs. They're trying to find the stuff that's broken. They're trying to figure out like how to tweak balance to make the balance feel better. But the fundamental game systems are done. A game in alpha, those fundamental game systems are still being worked out. So I think within that sense of things, that makes perfect sense to describe Soulframe as an alpha. Because like we don't have our finished combat arts. They've talked about the pact upgrade system being changed. We don't have our mounts yet. And so I think that makes perfect sense. So it's not about the level of polish of the individual systems. It's about how many of those systems we could see change in the future. I think it's the Mendicant King and the Arbearer. What are you looking for? I'm so sorry if I'm missing stuff in chat. I'm going to do my best to try and keep up. Do you sometimes think back to when the map was smaller, Skybox was different, we could do Tales every 3 hours? It has come a very long way. I definitely agree with that. Like, I love how polished each of these individual pieces feel. So like we could say to ourselves that, okay, the totem system with these big explosions doesn't feel like it fits Soulframe. And I think that that's true. I agree with that take. At the same time, we gotta admit, it's implemented quite well. It does what it does very well, and it works. So I think there's use in remembering, well, I don't know, in like framing this whole experience as being part of an alpha. I don't know, for me, why do I harp on this? Because for me, it helps me enjoy the game more. Oh, I don't like how much health I don't have. This Etheldred keeps bugging out. Seneschal the Weaver also does this, where she will bug out like this and just kind of sit there, and then I can't do much damage to her. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Like, why? I'm doing almost nothing to her. That's so strange. And she's just standing there. Like, 300 damage for a fully charged rune shot is nothing. Nothing. I will continue the thought that I was having before I started this fight in just a moment. And I see chat rolling by. I'm so sorry. Yeah, like... Okay, you just... How did you interrupt me, little spider dude? Alright, can we get deered yet? We can't get deered yet? Do any of you have souls? I think I already took all your souls. What is your mom doing? Why is she just standing there? Why is she just standing there? don't know, but let's do this. Did that take? That looks like no. That definitely didn't take because that would have done a lot more damage if it had. All right, get deered. Oh, she's awake now. Why did you just now wake up as I'm out of rune charges? Like, what on earth? Okay. All right, can we just, and that was like half a rune charge for that one? I don't understand. So things like this, see, this is perfect. This is exactly the transition that I was looking for. Things like this would make me nuts. She stops moving until you kill them. She also takes 50% less damage. Interesting. I have not killed her much since the last patch. That is new. Okay, so that's cool. Why isn't that in the patch notes? Things like this would drive me nuts. Do kind of drive me nuts, Loki, but they would drive me nuts more if the game weren't calling itself an alpha. Or no, that's not true. Like, if I didn't like hold in my mind, like, okay, this is an alpha. This is an alpha. We're testing stuff out. Things are expected to change, and realistically, it's on me for not thinking like, I wonder if they might have changed those boss mechanics. Is that intended though? Can we be sure? Okay, here's my other question. If that is intended, cool. That is a cool mechanic. That's kind of neat. You got to clear the ads, and she's just gonna sit there, right? Cool. That's cool. Can we be sure that is an intended mechanic? Because she sure looks like she's just bugged out. She looks like she's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. I think it would be a cool mechanic to have a phase where you can't do damage to her, but there needs to be some kind of indication to the player that that's what's going on, right? Like, Reaper has a phase where you can't damage Reaper, but he has a big giant blue bubble to tell the player, like, hey, you can't damage me right now. You got to do some other stuff. Having her just kind of sit there and be still, I think, is not great. I think the idea of you have to clear the ads, fine. But given how many things are buggy right now, my first thought was, oh, she must be bugged. So now that you're pointing it out, like, okay, that actually does make sense. I think that's a cool mechanic, but we need some kind of indicator to the player that she's in a phase. Like, maybe she cocoons herself in her web for defense, and that's how you can tell that she has more armor, right? Like, that would make more sense. I would hope she'd continue the attack pattern. Sure. Yeah. Like, even if she's still attacking, like, something. I still would like to see some, like, visual indicator of, like, oh, here's how we can see that she has a bunch of armor and it's not accidental. Like, something. Okay. I don't know that I wanted to use this so soon, but I guess I'm out of rune charges, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. Yeah, if it's intended, it's cool. It just needs a visual effect. Are you blocking my deer? Alright, I guess you're blocking my deer. Oh gosh, you're on fire now. I'm about to be on fire. Yep, I sure was. Okay, how about not? How about I don't want to be on fire? Thanks. Thanks! I also saw similar problems with damage when I was going to do Koga. Sometimes I deal full damage, other times I deal 70. One of the things I want to watch out for in this stream is if my runes ever fully bug out. This happened to me, I think, I want to say 2 days ago in co-op when I was the client in a squad. And my rune fully bugged out. It was appearing to give me infinite rune charge, but there was no actual rune damage. So I have not yet noticed this happen in solo, so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to run this in solo, is to see if my rune gets bugged out at any point. Because I feel like that would be some useful data to pass along. Thank you, Carly, for dropping by. Haven't played since P12. I'm assuming the game has changed a lot since. It sure has changed a lot since P12. Like, a ton. Am I playing on wide monitor? No, my FOV is very high. I will show you in just a moment here. Ooh, an Officer Juniper. Not the worst tempers. Not quite what I want, but my FOV right now is as high as I can make it. And I will say this is... Wait, where's my settings? Where even is my FOV? Here. My FOV is as high as I can make it. This is not how I would prefer to play. I'm gonna be real. I kind of like seeing more of my character. Well, I don't know. I have mixed feels about it. Right now, I'm having a lot of problems with visibility in bow combat. Like, a lot. The way the character moves back and forth across the reticle, which is way more apparent if you have your reticle set to always on, is causing me a lot of issues with being able to track targets in bow combat. And by increasing my FOV to the maximum, I can see more of the enemy movement patterns when they are visible on the screen, and I can do a better job of predicting where they're going to be when they move behind my character so that I can still hit them. I would change this back to a more moderate POV, probably, once that gets changed. I hope that it's not pure cope that will eventually get changed. It's also why I'm not playing Duello anymore. Or when I do play Duello, it's on like magic or melee when like seeing my target is not as crucial. Because your character is so close to the reticle that little bit of like moving in and out, right, is already kind of an issue for bows. But then when you combine that with the Duello clone that will like drag past your character, you can't see anything. Like, you can't see anything with a bow. I feel like I can never see what I'm shooting. So despite Duello being extremely strong on bows right now, if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, it's pretty tough. I have heard it's much better on controller. I've heard that on controller, because you can have some aim assist, and it's not as crucial to be able to like actually aim and hit your targets, that on controller it feels way better. So I think this is primarily a keyboard and mouse issue, but my goodness, is it a keyboard and mouse issue. There you are, sir. Hello. Oh, no thanks, no thanks. Hello. Oh, you did not oh, because percentage base. That's on me. That's on me. Wait, I heard the smite. Who did I proc smite on? I heard the sound. Whatever. Get deered. Get deered. Okay, in theory, I have a rune charge, right? Like, I have like a portion. Yeah. I don't know why I had a portion of rune charge there. How did that hit me? Alright, whatever. Okay, there's you, and... Oh, there. Friends. How do you tell how many rune charges I have? So if you look at the bottom, bottom right of my screen, where you see my 3 packed arcanics, around the green ability, around my spirit ability, there are space for charges. When your rune is not leveled up, some of those charges are going to be locked. So let me show you real quick. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. So if I put on a rank 0, like an unleveled Alka's Breath, when I draw my weapon, you see how 3 out of those 4 bars are now like grayed out. And that means they can't get a rune charge. To increase the number of rune charges you can get, you need to level up your rune. Let's see if I can get a smite on this guy. Oh, no, never mind. I'm going to put back my real Alka's Breath. Any new packs since P12? Yes, there are. What is my favorite status damage type? Not necessarily best, but favorite. That's a good question. Let me think about that. We have, what's new? Duello, I think, is the new one right now. Since P12. P12, I think we had Bromius, right? So Duello would be the new one. So when you see around my green ability, you see those 4 open, like the circle around it is like black right now. Let me see if I can get one smite. See if I can get one smite. You're gonna see one of those bars turn yellow, and then that'll be easier to tell what I'm talking about here. Sam outside, thank you for the sub. My favorite just for vibes. Oh gosh, these guys actually do a decent amount of damage. I guess my favorite, like, vibes-based... Oh, so there you go. You see, I pulled that smite and the bottom bar turned yellow, right? That's the rune charge. And so a maxed out rune can hold 4 charges. My favorite vibes-based, I think, is Aftershock. It's a pretty okay temper, like a status. Sorry, Aftershock. Arcanic status. It's not crazy strong. It's not crazy weak. What I like about it is that it's neither a direct damage temper nor a dot temper, but like something in the middle, right? The way that it works is like kind of halfway between an extra damage proc and a dot. And I find that really interesting. I just think it's neat. I think it's a kind of a new take on things. That instead of doing like a bleed where it's several dots over time, which is what we tend to see, it is like 2 much larger procs. I think that's pretty interesting. Yes, thank you, Pritch, for answering the question. Yes, I am in Koga right now. Just wandering through, doing a Gari. Hoping that we come up with a Moonsteel out of one of these. What are you doing over here? We're like way out of the corrupted area, and why aren't you fighting these sprout folk? Are you in like the same faction? I do hope that Soulframe eventually gets what Warframe has with the dots telling you when you can stop attacking because the dot's just gonna kill that enemy. I feel like that would be useful. Moonsteel is what I have on this bow here. It's just a cosmetic effect that makes your weapon shiny and pretty. That's really all it is. It can appear on any weapon craftwork tier. You don't have to be in Koga to get it. It's just a random chance. I'm in Koga because it increases the craftwork tier of your drops modestly, not enough that you need to grind Koga to get better weapons. Moonsteel is pretty. I wish you could get it on the Paragon. Supposedly someone has. So this is the other thing that I've heard, is that you can apparently get Moonsteel from the factions. Oh, I don't actually have that up. RIP. From the faction enclaves through buying weapons. Oh my goodness. I forgot how much I dislike this guy's block mechanic. I don't love mechanics with like no counterplay. Right? I like mechanics where I gotta think about how to deal with them, and if I mess it up, that's on me, which might happen here, because there you go. But if it's like, I can block forever and there's nothing you can do about it, I don't like that. If he's gonna have a block that makes me unable to damage him, I want like some mechanic in game that will let me get through that block and like prevent him from blocking again. So like, could I kick him to put his block down? Sure, but then he can just block again literally the next second. That doesn't feel great to me. I would love there to be some kind of refractory period before they can block again. I can't believe I get the boss and I'm about to die on his ads. Crazy. This is fine. I'm fine. Where are all these ads coming from? From you, right? From you! It's your fault. Yeah, you don't want to be here now that your big brother ran away. Okay, you are actually still throwing things at me. You in particular. You know, your friends left, huh? Just like that? Okay. Sorry, I'm back. You want Moonsteel in your Starling so bad? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Moonsteel right now. I'm gonna be real. Like, obviously I'm out here trying to collect it. I think it looks pretty. I want to get it. And also, at the same time, I have some mixed feelings about it. But I am withholding my judgment until we find out more about weapon transmog. I am withholding my judgment until we find out more about weapon transmog. I went through a lot of cord stones to roll this juniper to something that I would want to use while... Which I like feel like I should apologize to Lucal for, because Lucal tried to roll it for me also, and then I was like, actually, I'm going to roll it to something different. Mostly because I wanted to like take Aftershock off so I could just see the pretty Moonsteel, and then I disabled weapon effects because I couldn't do it. Anyway, the point being, like, with Moonsteel being so rare and us not being able to like move which weapons have the Moonsteel effect, and upgrading weapons to be what we want being so expensive, that feels kind of tough to me. I think that the rarity of it I would be fine with if I could convert my Moonsteel into a skin and apply on any bow. Right? I think that there's some levels of like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm very like, I have some concerns about how this is going to interact with the weapon transmog system. This is why I asked that question in the interview. I was a little sad that they weren't able to answer it yet, but I, at the same time, also glad that they are thinking about it enough that they wanted to be careful about how much information they gave. I honestly think that that's a good sign. I would be more concerned if they had answered in a way that was kind of like flippantly dismissive, which is, I mean, obviously not something I think DE would do, but, you know, I was glad to hear either here's how it will work, or, you know, that's in progress and we're not ready to share yet. I feel like that's an appropriate response, because like, I have this lovely juniper. Oh, I can't go into... I was going to go talk about, like, I have a Blitzel, a Moonsteel Blitzel that was given to be my spring roll. We have this, my friends and I, we have this plan that we want to have friend weapons, friend Moonsteel weapons that we trade around to each other, so we all have weapons with each other's names on. And, the problem is that they have terrible tempers. And it's so rare that at the moment, like trying to get a Moonsteel weapon with the tempers you want, it's just not super practical. So does that mean that we're all just going to be expected to spend all of our materials upgrading our Moonsteel weapons? Are people going to be like hoarding their cord stones and not upgrading until they get... Oh, I'm going to die. Hold on, I should fight this guy and then finish my thought. Excuse me, sir. Oh, I missed. Didn't miss that time. Yeah, the friend bows. I love the friend bows idea, right? I think that's so cool. And also, I want to be able to have my skins on like the weapons that I'm actually using. I worry that people will start to like hoard things and like not upgrade stuff, because, you know, why would you spend a bunch of cord stones upgrading a weapon that you're hoping to get in Moonsteel if you know that you're going to need to spend those cord stones to like change all the tempers on your Moonsteel? I just have a lot of questions is all. I don't know what I'm going to think about it because I don't know how it's going to work. We're going to find out. Being able to transfer the Moonsteel effect kind of beats the joy of finding that one Moonsteel you really wanted. Alex, I don't think so, as long as it like stays to that grip type, right? If I find a Moonsteel Juniper and I can unlock it. Now, there would need to be something where like in the unlocking process to keep the rarity, because I do understand what people are saying about they want Moonsteel to stay rare and feel special. I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. To me, that means that in the process of pulling the Moonsteel off the weapon and converting it into a skin, it should then be removed from the weapon. So if then you trade that weapon to someone, they don't also get the Moonsteel, because that would then like make Moonsteel really, really common, right? So there are ways that they could set things up to keep the rarity of Moonsteel and still allow us to be able to apply our Moonsteel effect to different weapons. Are the temper rules coming up in P16? That is what they said. Theoretically. Alright. I don't want any of these, though. I'm already almost maxed at my Wevet seeds. I don't need packed experience. I could get the Grace and Spirit. But realistically, if I'm going to get a Bromius Blessing, I really want to get the one where I get Gathering. He offers the Gathering one. Do I hold out? I think I'm going to hold out. Good morning, Smooth. How are you? I think I'm going to wait and hope that he comes back later and will give me the one where I get like better double gathers. Max for Wevet Teas is 100. I am currently at 98. Alright, where am I headed to? I think I'm just going to go up to Ruthos. I don't really want a zone because I want to get my level higher. Why am I getting half rune charges? I should not have half rune charges. That doesn't make sense. Is that a... Yeah, it's a half rune charge. How does that happen and why? Interesting. Do I have a rune drain totem? I do not. Oh, I don't think I do, but I have not actually checked what's on my verdigris. That's a good point. Maybe I do. I do not. Turbid Wards, Mining Stag, Dabble Dredge. This explains why I'm getting less heal than I would expect, too. Oh, nope, sure doesn't. Yeah, I do not have any rune drain, so that doesn't really make any sense. What level do you suggest going into hard mode? I don't think it's about level. I think it's about your level of comfort with your equipment. I think you should have at least one packed and weapon maxed out. So one packed and one weapon at rank 30, and presumably a sidearm, although sidearm is a little bit less important. And it should be a packed and a weapon that you know how to play really well. And then if you're nervous about going into hard mode your first time, go with a friend, because if you go down, your friend can pick you up and you can continue your Koga. The Koga only ends when everyone in your squad is dead. The limit on seeds is 100. The maximum number of weapon seeds you can have is 100 seeds. Oh, are they all? Okay. 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 I actually kind of did want to try and grab some smites from them, but that's fine. They can just be dead. I'm hoping that if I do zone in and out, that I will find Bromius again. Because I really want the, I really want... Something just occurred to me. Are we... Yeah, I don't know why the bot is not working. I also, yeah, Bromius has that like double resource pickup blessing, and I want that one for my Whisprig, because Whisprig is still like the biggest limiting factor for me. Super excited for wolf mounts, indeed. They said puppy bonding was coming in P16, but they did not say mounts. So I wonder if it's like the first half of the process that's coming and not like the actual mount riding. I don't know. I'm nervous about it.
Leggy!
What's up? How many Whisprig would I find? So many. I need so much Whisprig. What did I miss? Hold on. I wonder if feeding may be applicable to bonding with puppies. Maybe. Could be. I'm farming Whisprig, but I don't know what mount is enough. I'm at 300. So Pritch the other day, oh, this is like the other day, about a week ago now, gave me 600 Whisprig, and I went through it in about 2.5 days. In my opinion, the cost of the Whisprig cost for Cordstones is way too high for how much Whisprig we can get in game. Way too high. Oh, the glow lamprites, like the lamprites don't bother me as much because you can get them through so many different types of content and you don't need as many of them per cordstone. But you need so much Whisprig that if you want to like actually make your bulk low tier Whisprig and then, you know, refine them up to higher tier cordstones, you have to kind of do like nothing but Whisprig farming. For at least, I don't know, I end up spending at least an hour or two of gameplay literally every day just trying to get Whisprig. And there are days where it's like, well, I guess I'm just not crafting cordstones today because I don't feel like farming the glades for an hour. They did improve it in a recent hotfix, but it's still too much for me, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's an ungracious hot take. It is what it is. I don't want to keep farming Whisprig all the time. Don't think I need that. Yeah, it is a huge bottleneck right now. Because I don't think that the lamprites would be as much of a bottleneck if we weren't all having to farm Whisprig all the time. If I didn't have to spend all my time getting Whisprig, then it wouldn't be so much of an issue. Where else can you get Whisprig? You can get it from corrupted sprout folk, you can get it from mockeries, and you can get it from chests in the glades. So like the best way to get Whisprig is to just run the glades. So, you know, oh, look at this. Finally, I have enough to craft one singular of these cordstones. And now I'm out again. And I'm like, I can't craft my low tier because I need 68. I don't know. There's just, it's crazy to me. Especially since so many of the weapons that I upgrade to that tier, you know, you're going to end up trying to roll better tempers and then salvaging them. I don't know, man. It feels like too many. It feels like too many to me. Is it intended that with each master rank our virtue goes to the pact we chose first? I'm not sure what you mean. Right now, your virtues all go to, your virtue distribution is determined by your, I don't know, do they have a new name for this? They're not called virtue lists anymore. I call this the pebble. I don't know what this is supposed to be called right now, but right now, all of your virtue points go into this singular pool of points, and then you decide where they go based on this thing here. So at the moment, your virtue points are not automatically going anywhere other than where your pebble tells them to go. It used to automatically allocate them towards, I believe, your starting prism or your starting virtue. And then after that, it was... No, initially your virtue points didn't go anywhere and you had to manually allocate them. And then they were being allocated according to your prism. It's been different over time. I had full grace points, and after leveling up, I got all the points in spirit instead of grace. I'm not sure what you mean, because that shouldn't be able to happen unless you changed a loadout somewhere. Because when you level up, it shouldn't change your arsenal at all. There was a time when the tooltip on the weapon dropped... On the dropped weapon wouldn't show if they were Moonsteel. Yes, when they first introduced Moonsteel, you could not see if a dropped weapon was Moonsteel, but now you can. They have fixed that. So if you get a Moonsteel drop, you will be able to see it before you pick up the weapon, so you can know if it's something you want to keep. Oh, I shouldn't have spent it on you. R.I.P. That's on me. Oh, okay. Sure. Sure. Don't want that. Don't want that. Of course. Moonsteel is a cosmetic effect that you can find on your weapons. You see my bow has this like shiny silvery effect on it. That is Moonsteel. And it can drop on any weapon at any level. Anywhere. It's just random and a very low chance. I am doing this in Koga because I want the higher quality weapon drops. Not because I think it increases the chance of finding Moonsteel. Okay, Bromius, you have... No, you have the same... Oh, Forager's Feast! I have been told that this increases your Whisprig drops. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Please? 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 Okay. Is working on the mushrooms. Okay, so that means I also should go find some of the corrupted flowers, because there's a couple of potion flowers that I need. There's a bunch of gathering stuff that I need. Delicious quenching acid. Get deered. I don't like the doggos. The dogs stagger me too much. Oh, I don't have any rune charges. RIP. Yeah, I can heal at you too. Hello. I would love a smite, please. It would be nice if I could see his health bar. I guess it's not strictly necessary. You know, it would be nice. Oh, I should not have done that, like, in your arrow hail. Can I... Well, alright. I guess we didn't need to see your health bar after all. If you don't like offerings, can you just not choose one and get the bear later? Yes, I just did that, and it worked. He did not have the buff that I wanted the first time around, so I said never mind, and I ran around and found him again and got a different blessing, so that's pretty nice. I think that's a nice middle ground between, like, before when we could just, like, re-roll whichever ancestor we wanted by, like, logging out and logging back in, and now you only get the one, but at least you can eventually choose between the different blessings that he offers, so, or she, they, whichever one spawns for you. So I think that's nice. I'm alright with that. Is he just like halfway through the ground, or is he just sitting like that? He's just sitting like that. He looks like he just sat down to take a nap. Hello, you need to die. You're healing your friends. Oh no, no! I was so amused by how he was sitting, and then the deer wrecked his body. Can you sit up again? That was really funny. Come on, sit up. No. Aw. Aw. It was really cute. He looked like he was just taking a nap. You missed it, Arkansas? The answer was yes. You can. It just happened to me. I found the bear. He wasn't offering what I wanted, and so I came back and... Or I said, never mind. I wandered around. He spawned again, and I got the buff that I wanted. I'm gonna check out here and see if I can find any blue lily, because I need those for making spirit potions. I also need neath caps, so maybe I do go into the glades after all, or into the neathans. Playing with the corpses. Listen, it was funny. Do you remember when Bromius just came out and you could trap things in Wevet Root, and if you killed them in Wevet Root, you could then launch them into space? That was fun. Oh no. These guys do so much damage. It is Orangal that makes you run faster. You only get one ancestor a day in the world, and the blessing it offers. So you get one ancestor per day in the world. That is correct. But you can get any of the possible blessings that it offers. So if it's not offering the one that it offers that you want, like, they have more than 3 that they can offer, and it's random which 3 show up anytime you encounter. So if you don't like the 3 that it's offering at that moment and you leave and you find them later, they might have different blessings. Alright, you are shooting at me from over there. You are blocking, I guess? Oh, are you still alive? Not anymore. Oh, you're alive. Okay. Okay. Alright, the slug has to die, because of these enemies, ironically, the slug does the most damage. Oh, the Ode feel the same way about slugs. I love that. Okay. Okay. Hi. What's up? Are we meleeing? I think we're meleeing here. Oh, he's winning. How? How very dare? How very dare? Never mind. I don't want to melee you anymore. Never mind. The slug is like a turtle. Yes, I agree. I don't know if that's an agree so much as just an objective fact. They are like turtles. Yay, finally some smite charges. Ooh, hello. How do you deal damage to those slugs? They have a weak spot. They do not have a weak spot that I've been able to find. You wait for them to stop blocking. If anyone knows a strategy for that, please share. But as far as I know, you just have to wait for them to stop blocking. This is my big pet peeve about block mechanics in general in Soulframe is that there isn't a great counterplay against it. Because even if you like kick to open an enemy's block, they can just block again. Oh, where are you going? He went to high ground. It made his head stick out more. My strategy is run past them. Yeah, that's a solid strategy. Yeah, so when the slugs are all spiky, they are attacking and they're vulnerable. And when they like hunker down and become more smooth, they are blocking, basically. Your rune charges will usually penetrate block to some degree, so you can just spam runes at them, but you don't always want to waste rune charges on slugs, so I don't know if that's exactly a strategy so much as a coping mechanism. Alright. Oh my goodness, did we aggro a lot of things here? Okay, this is a little bit much. Okay. You are shooting at me from outside of my CC. Let's just like, oh no, that's not my stampede wasn't up. It is now. There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay. Who's shooting me? You. That's better. You need to be next. Great. Who's left? Lightning guy? I think I just threw something at me. How very dare. Ta-da! That was fun. Yeah, heavy attacks are going to be most effective because they bypass blocks. I guess maybe my gripes against enemy blocking has a lot to do with how heavily I favor ranged combat. I imagine that people who favor magic have a similar opinion. Because for ranged and magic, there just isn't a ton of counterplay against it. To be clear, I don't think that ranged weapons should be able to bypass blocks the same way or as easily as melee weapons. I think it's perfectly fair for melee weapons to have an advantage there. But I do think that there should be some kind of mechanism that at least offers intentional counterplay. Magic heavies partially go through blocks, and same thing for ranged heavies, that they partially go through blocks. But I mean, I think that by intentional counterplay, what I mean is like, for this guy here, right? I would love to be able to like gradually consume his stagger bar. And once he passes a certain threshold, he can't block again, right? So like if I break a block, I have a tiny window where I can now do damage before he can block again. And I would honestly prefer that to having my heavy attacks or my heavy charge shots or charged casts go through blocks. I think that would just be fun. I think it would just be fun. Love the riposte animation with bows. I have complicated feelings about it. I have complicated feelings about it. Do I really want to get into this rant again today? Do y'all really want to hear me rant about bow and melee and everything? I will absolutely get on this soapbox. I have complicated feelings about it. I think there's nuance to be had there. All right. Here's my thought. Here are my thoughts about bow and melee. First thing, we're going to do the easiest one. First thing, we're going to talk about the easiest one, and that is AVEX. Right? The AVEX heavy melee is very fun. It is too slow. This is a good attack. This is a good animation. It's too slow. That is literally the only thing that I think that it needs changed, is why would I ever do this attack when this attack is so much faster? And it's like the actual full animation time isn't what makes this faster. It's like, because if I spam this here, right, this is not significantly slower. What's different about it is that when I press my click, the time from my input to when it actually happens on the screen is so much shorter for this than for this. Because of that big like wind up. Does the animation look cool? Yeah, it does. But in combat, that gets really annoying. If the point like this, way more satisfying. Your arrow slam, way cooler to me. So I think that, and especially since, like, yeah, it's a heavy attack. I don't agree with that though, Indie Senpai, because we're talking, this isn't just about, like, conceptually, it's technically a heavy attack. The only thing that makes this a heavy attack is that it's on the heavy attack keybind. There's literally nothing else about this that makes it a heavy attack. This is a heavy attack, and that should be slow because you charge it up. That makes sense. But if the idea is for the bow to have a quick melee option, it needs to be quick. It needs to actually be quick. And if it is slower for me to use this and does the same or less damage as this, I'm just not going to use it. So this attack, like this tap attack, just needs to be faster. The charge, I feel like that's fine. Like this charge speed, totally fine. It's just this part, like that, it's too slow. Everything else about the AVEX, I think, is fine. I think the AVEX having a more like melee-oriented options for combat, the riposting and such, at the cost of a slower charge rate, sure, why not? However, oh wait, let's go back to where we were. No, if I'm gonna be chatty, let's put on some more heals. Here's my thing about melee and bows and stuff, right? I am not against the idea of a subtype of bow that has melee combat animations. I think that's a cool idea. I would love to see Avex as the first example of a subtype of bows that is specifically like hybrid combat bows that are intended to be used in melee combat, that have more of the melee animations that were taken out from P7 and earlier, and that are meant to be used as like bladed bows. Cool. It's a fantasy game. We can cast fey magic. We can hit people with bows. It's fine. What I don't like is when that gameplay removes the ability of other bows to play like bows. And so I would like to see our standard bows be more like standard bows, which you would not use to smack someone with. If you got into a situation where you were actually needing to use your bow as a melee weapon, you would not then shoot that bow because the bow could break and injure you in really dangerous ways, right? And again, fantasy games, so we can invent fantasy weapons that can defy physical properties. I am totally on board with that. But my issue with it is from the perspective of the player, of like the game and how the game feels. We have so many options for melee combat in Soulframe. We have so many options for weapons that can parry, that can riposte, that can spectre strike, that can block. Why do we have to do that on our only bow also? That's my issue with it. If there were a type of bow that lets you just play bow, and then a different type of bow that lets you do the hybrid melee, wonderful. I love that idea. Let's do it. Let's have both. But if you're going to make me fight for the tempers that I want with all of the melee tempers, if I don't get the, like, if the combat arts pool, instead of getting like more fun ranged combat arts, I have the option of like a riposte combat art, it just makes me feel like it I don't know. It doesn't feel great. It feels like any combat that's not melee combat is an afterthought. And I don't want to punish melee combat. I just want the ranged combat and melee combat to get the same level of attention and polish, right? That's my thing with it. Oops. Oops. I hear a collector. So it is a shiny quick draw. We take it. So could this be considered dooming? I don't think so. I don't feel like it's dooming because, again, like in that interview with Joe, he seemed very open to that possibility. There's no guarantee that that's the direction that the game is going to go in. But like, I really want to see solutions that don't make it an either or, but a yes and. I don't want the people who love the melee bow to not be able to play their melee bow. I just want the people who want to play a ranged bow to be able to play a ranged bow and have a fully fleshed out kit for a ranged bow that feels as polished and as developed as the melee options do. And right now, that's just not what we have. And it's okay that that's not what we have right now because, again, pre-alpha game, still in development, we're still working things out. But that's what I'm hoping for the future, is for like ranged tempers, ranged combat arts to have all of the same level of cohesiveness that all of the melee options are. Now, we're talking about you can one-shot things and one-shot, you don't need a proper build. That's not a bow issue, my friend. I will agree with you that there are some balance issues that have to do with bows, but it's not because of bows. That is not a bow problem. That's a grace problem. That is a grace thing. 1000%, and we have the numbers to back it up. Oh my gosh, I over-aggroed here. Alright, well, now that I've proc smite on literally everything, I can do one-shot headshots on a spirit build too. using Seathorn and Siren. If you, like... Sure, I'll take that. I'll take that. This poor Midrathian lady in the background is shouting for help, and it's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. You've been spellsung. Grace is crazy right now. Grace is nutty. Grace is nutty. Oh, don't want that. You would prefer melee bows or ranged bows? You don't like the idea of amalgam of the two? I think that having... I mean, I think melee bows are kind of an amalgam of ranged and melee combat. But I will agree with you that, like, separating them out into, like, two subtypes, like we have long blades and rapiers and cleavers that are all slightly different. I think kind of leaning into the different types, or, like, subtypes of weapons, I think would be very good for the game. Check out this amazing spirit build that I made. Check out this amazing spirit build. It's definitely a magic build, right? So that means it's a spirit build, right? I wanted like a good magic build that I could run in Koga and feel like was, you know, powerful and useful and capable of surviving Koga content and excelling. Like, you know, I can actually run a like spirit build in Koga and, you know, do okay. But I have to be real careful because you're so glassy. You know, it's interesting. Whatever am I gonna do about that? Whatever am I gonna do about that? Problem solved. Have I ever played Dauntless? I did not play Dauntless. That's a 5K headshot. It's not a bow problem. It's a grace problem. I do not understand why anyone would want to melee with a bow. You know, I can understand why people would want to do things that are different and creative, right? Like, it's not my preferred style of play either, obviously. But I do understand the appeal of something that you haven't been able to do in other games before. I understand the idea of like, you know, I've played the ranged ranger in so many games, and so I want to do something different. I get it. Even though that's not what I want, I'm not surprised, and I'm not going to judge other people for wanting to do that. You know, it's kind of like I've played the dex-based ranger in every game before, and I would love to play maybe a courage-based ranged combat or a spirit-based ranged combat. Like, sometimes you want to do things precisely because it's different and it's creative and it's new and it's like a new take on something that you've done before, and that can be really fun. I get it. Even if it's not a choice that I personally want, I still want it to be a choice for the people that want it. You want to use melee weapons at range? You can. Oh, I don't have a melee weapon equipped right now. You just throw them. Actually, though, with the way that perfect throws scale, you can put together quite a good thrown melee build. You would want to do it with a grace weapon, though. I'm not even kidding. You could do a really good thrown melee build with Rostrum. Just go full grace. Get your perfect throw headshots, oiled scabbard. Honestly, maybe we'll try that out. Maybe we'll try that out. That'd be pretty funny. That would actually be kind of incredible. There are so many interesting possibilities for what they could do with weapons attuned to different virtues, right? Like creating a norm for each type. I think fine, sure. Why not? I really want to get the... I need to get this healer. I really want to shoot healing arrows. I want to heal my teammates by shooting them because I don't really think that Soulframe is an ideal choice for PvP. I'm gonna pick that up. But I enjoy the challenge of hitting players with shots because they're just like harder to track than AI. So I think that it would be fun to have like a spirit bow that shoots healing arrows that I can use as a support archer. I think that would be fun. No. Can aim. Am I gonna hold my Arcanics all the way to the end? I am not. I'm gonna hold my rune charges though. It makes me a little sad that this is the best way to play Magic right now. But you know what? I am very happy that the devs talked about this already, so we know that they're going to change it. That makes me real happy. Like, knowing that they're already on it, all we have to do is wait for them to roll out whatever change they're going to do. So that's pretty exciting. Didn't they say that that was coming in P16 too? Am I just imagining that? I feel like they said that, right? Right, I feel like they said that balance changes were coming in P16 with the tempers. Temper changes. Was it in the pipeline or didn't they? Okay, I don't know. Don't take my word on this because I don't know that I'm remembering it correctly, but I feel like they said in one of the dev shorts that balance changes were coming in P16. But I could be remembering that wrong. Oh, I just hit the tree. Alright, we need to start being ready for Nimrod. I think Nimrod's going to be soon. I have full charges, so that's nice. Okay, that guy's dead. Yeah, there we go. All right. I will check out your message in just a moment. Let me finish getting rid of Nimrod here. Oh, I forgot to aim it. RIP. There we go. Better. Okay. Have I played Dragon's Dogma 2? I think I played Dragon's Dogma 1, but I did not play 2. There have... What are my thoughts about archery? My opinion on Soulframe archery is that I think in Preludes 12 it was perfect and I loved it. With one exception. There's only one thing about P12 Soulframe archery that I would have changed. Let me pick up my winnings, and I will put on a bow and show y'all what I mean. What's this? Needle's Eye, don't need that. We have Needle's Eye, don't need that. Ooh, those actually pretty good tempers on a Bog and Myrtle. I'll take that. Maybe I can upgrade that, and that will be like the Bog and Myrtle I actually want to use. I think I have one that's similar, but doesn't have quite as good tempers. Alright. For now, you can only get arcs from the cash shop They did say when they implemented trading that eventually you will be able to trade other players to get arcs, but it's not implemented yet. This makes sense. They want to make sure that the trading system is working and not super buggy before they let people trade for things that cost real money. I think that that's a good call. But it does mean that you will have to wait before you can trade other players for arcs. Yeah, they used to. They used to give out free arcs when they tested new systems to encourage people to actually test them to make sure that everything was working correctly. The arcs that I have now are from the Founders package, because when you buy Founders, you also get a bunch of arcs. All right. The only thing don't like about Soulframe Archery is that I should be able to unaim without dropping my arrow. You can do this in Warframe. For me, it's not about like whether or not the bow is knocked. It's about like this canceling the shot, because sometimes someone like runs up to you and you want to be able to zoom out and see more of what's around you, and not being able to do that. I don't like. We already have an animation cancel, like a shot cancel in the dodge, so we don't need this as a cancel. I think that this costs more than it offers in terms of offering a cancel when we have a different cancel right there. And there's like no use limit on dodges. So that is literally the only thing from P12 archery that I would change, is to not have the zoom change this. Like this is for people who play a lot of ranged combat and really like bow combat. This is very annoying. This is very frustrating. And yeah, it is one of the things, it's one of the many things to me that make Soulframe combat feel like it's designed for melee with a little bit of ranged added on that doesn't feel as fully fleshed out as some of the other parts of the game. Because there are things that like probably don't bother non-ranged players as much as they bother ranged players, but they really, really bother ranged players. Aside from that, P12 archery felt great. What happened in P13 that made it sour for me is like, look how my character crosses my reticle. You probably don't notice this much if you don't play with your reticle on, but they made these camera changes for melee combat that are phenomenal in melee combat. So once again, we see something that is like amazing and good and feels fantastic in melee, right? This is great. It helps you see the battlefield, your character's position relative to the reticle, basically relative to the center of your screen, will shift in combat to make it easier for you to see what you're fighting. Wonderful. Wonderful. Unfortunately, this becomes a huge problem in bow combat. Doesn't the drop? It doesn't drop the charge if you zoom in midway through. No, you can zoom while you're aiming and it doesn't drop. You can't unzoom without dropping. Yeah, the dynamic camera is great for melee. It's another place where it's like, I don't want to take this away from melee combat because it's so good for melee combat. I just wish that there were maybe like a bit more acknowledgement of how melee combat and ranged combat are really different. And you can't just smash the two things together and make them work. That's just, it ends up feeling frustrating for one version or the other. And so the same degree to which I'm sure it was irritating for melee enjoyers to have the fixed reticle before, it's just as irritating to ranged enjoyers now to not be able to see what we're shooting at. I don't know about a toggle, Maggie, because even I, when playing this, like, I would want to have the dynamic camera back as soon as I switch to a melee weapon. I think it should be attached to what type of weapon is in your hand. Now, this gets more complicated if we start having bows that are, like, designed to do more melee. right? Let's see if I can go in. Nope. Nope. Come on, come on, come on. Right? But do I need the dynamic camera for that? Listen, I don't. I'm admittedly biased, but I don't feel like I need the dynamic camera for that. I don't know. I have a growing list of like ranged combat peeves that have been like creeping up little by little. And the thing is, like, none of the things that like are annoying to me about ranged combat in Soulframe, like none of them are so annoying that I'm like, oh, I don't want to play this game. Obviously, given the number of hours that I put into it, given how much I clearly still love playing Soulframe and play it all the time, right? None of them are so big that they're deal breakers to me. But the fact that the list keeps growing and growing is a little concerning to me. Like, it worries me. Because there is a point past which that list gets so long that the combat just feels frustrating. And there's just a lot of little things right now that just make it feel like a steadily growing list of things that make it feel like bows don't quite get the same polish that melee weapon gets. I do wish the rapier was a sidearm or could be one for the bow. Yes, I agree so much. Rapier sidearm would be my go-to. Bow rapier, I would play that all day long. I huge agree. I cannot. So Joe also did say that he, like, when rapiers first came out, he was like, oh, I should have made that one a rapier or that one a sidearm. I'm like, yes. So I'm hoping, I am hoping that we do eventually get our rapier sidearm. I'm so here for that. Rapier is my favorite of all of the melee weapons. So I do hope that we get the rapier sidearm. I would like to have, like, I don't mind people wanting the aim assist as long as that's something I can turn off. Purely because, like, for me, a lot of the fun of range combat is like trying to hit shots. Oh, I missed. I'm out of rune charges. All right, you, sir. Can I get a soul off one of you? Yeah. Thank you. Oh, he's gonna go into the clouds now. No, I dodged too late. He's gonna lightning me. Okay. And now I'm gonna freeze you. And I'm gonna shoot you. Not in the face. Oh, I totally... Man. My finger slipped. R.I.P. Sorry, we still got him. We still got him. Auto lock part that just aims for the body if I don't ADS. So the auto lock that aims for the body doesn't happen on bows. It happens on magic weapons. Is that what you're talking about? I'm not sure what you mean. On keyboard and mouse, there is no auto lock for bows. Bows just shoot wherever your reticle is. On controller, it might have an auto lock. I don't know. I don't play on controller. The lack of an auto lock on bows is part of what I like about it so much. Yeah, the staves have the auto lock for convenience. You can block while shooting your staff or block while casting to bypass it and aim your shots. but you have to like hold down block to aim it. That's how I was using my Siren build just a couple of minutes ago, was by going for stealth headshots, because no matter what weapon you're using, stealth headshots are the way. I'm not sure. I think I've missed too much of the context to know what the debate is. I'm sorry. What are we gonna do for... You know what? We could probably just put on... Probably just use this, actually. Right? You want the bow to auto-lock on controller? If this setting did what it said it does, that probably would make things a lot better for everyone. I think I want to go up and actually do Kern Hold before I head down to Wazard. Yes, Lunar Veggie, that's what I was just doing on my Siren build. That's how I was just playing, right? I just had that Spirit, well, not Spirit, Grace Magic Siren build on, and that was how I was getting those headshots, was by blocking and aiming the headshot. I think we're saying the same thing. The controller aim assist actually does affect keyboard and mouse right now also. I'm not sure what it's currently doing for controllers, but at the moment, if you disable that, even when you're playing on keyboard and mouse, you will have some issues with doing things like ground finishers. I mean, this is another conversation that we were having a couple of streams ago about like the desire for the controls to have parity between keyboard and mouse and controller. And I have to respectfully disagree there. If there is a reason why that parity is needed, I would love to hear more about why that is necessary. But like, I as a player choose to play with keyboard and mouse, not controller. And when the controls for keyboard and mouse are like forced into something that achieves parity with controller, it makes me feel like I'm being forced to play with an interface that isn't the one that I chose. I really don't like that. So if there is a design reason, which there might be, like something behind the scenes of like why this has to be designed this way, I would like to know what that is, because it would help me better understand what the devs are going for and then give better constructive feedback about it. This isn't about controller players versus keyboard and mouse players, QSU. I don't think that controller players should have to play like keyboard and mouse players either. I think that a player's decision to use the interface device that works for them is something that the game should respect. I'm going to choose the interface that fits me and my mental, physical enjoyment needs, right? And so, like, I'm choosing this interface for a reason, the same way that a controller player is. And so I want the game to embrace that. Like, there are things that a keyboard and mouse offers that a controller doesn't. There's things that a controller offers that a keyboard and mouse doesn't. And when the game controls try to erase that difference as much as possible, while maybe it makes the developer's job easier, like that's fair. It makes my experience as the player worse. It just does. Like, I wish that I could phrase that in a gentler way, but like, it's tough. Like, I'm still using a foot pedal to play Soulframe because the key combos are still too much for me as is. And like, I'm glad that I'm playing on PC and that I have the option to like use the interface devices that I need so that I can accommodate myself in that way. I think that's fine. But I do think that that's still something that the devs should be thinking about. Controls should be designed for separate peripherals as both things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the foot pedal, by the way, makes these controls so much easier. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Whether you have mobility challenges or not, bind your soul sight to a foot pedal. It makes so many things feel so much more comfortable in the game. That is what I use my foot pedal for. Yeah. It's my spectral sight is a foot pedal. And it has helped me feel more comfortable in the game a ton. I don't think that I would necessarily need it. Yeah, I don't think I would need the foot pedal to play the game if I could pull smite with a single key input. But even having customized that keybind, the game will not accept pull smite as a single input. So, I have it on my foot pedal. Honestly, even if they change that... Oh, I don't have rune charge. Even if they changed that so you didn't have to... Hold on. I can't talk and fight this Bernie lady. Even if they changed it so that you could single input your pulse smite, I might still keep my foot pedal for spectral sight, because you need spectral sight up for so many things and you can't make it a toggle, and it's just so convenient to not have to constantly have a finger down for that. It's just so convenient. It's just so nice. So, you know, while that wouldn't be like an accessibility limitation for me anymore, it would still just make it a lot more comfortable. Spectral sight would be great as a toggle, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of little control things like that where it's like, where's my key? Here we go. Hello? Oh. Okay. We got full smite charges. I feel like being on a shelter right now is a little bit OP, but... Oh wait, hold on. We were gonna do some, like, perfect throws, right? Oh, where is she? She's down here. Hello, ma'am. My aim with melee is not great, so... We're gonna... Oh, I missed. Hold on. Okay, never mind. I should have done this with Rostrum. I forgot that sidearms don't do very much damage. This would have been better with Rostrum. Although now I really do want to try it with Rostrum. Oh, whoa! Wait a minute! That was a ton of damage! I was just missing! I was just bad. Alright, listen. I need you to chill for a minute so I can stab your boss in the face. Alright, that's not too bad. No, I don't want to be on fire! No thanks. Okay, you... Who's shooting me? She's already unstoned, guys. Chill! Chill! Where's my Healy flower? I need to stand next to my safety flower. Alright. Who's shooting me? You're shooting me? Look at the way my reticle is drifting! Ah! Sweet grace. Did y'all see that? Oh, it makes me so nuts. Alright. And you... There we go. No, you're still alive? Alright, hold on. Okay, okay. How can I hit you? Oh, okay. 591. I don't think that was a headshot, right? Ooh, I got my proc. Wait, hold on, hold on, hold on. Intercept runaway Scrivener. Where? Where? Okay, this way. We're going. We're going. I'm following you, bird. There's nobody here. Oh, you. No. Aha. Okay. We win. Oh, no. We win. I'm getting shot at. I want to throw a knife in the banneret's face, so we need to get rid of distractions because I'm just not very good at aiming a knife, okay? No, 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 don't heal. Don't heal. There we go. That's the number we're looking for. 2,600 damage from a sidearm. That's all Oshelda and Grace. That's a Bestone break multiplier, and that's Grace being very strong. Incredible. Alright. Anything down there that we need? I don't think we need health potions. Wait, I hear someone alive. Oh, it's you. Doing like a little shuffle up there? Can't use a normal keyboard to game? You should put a red dot on your knife. I'm sure it will help. I don't know. There are quite a few packed arcanics that will basically casting them centers your reticle on your character. Like centers your camera on your character. And so it ends up making you feel like your reticle is drifting all over the place. It makes me nuts. I have too thought about getting one of those that like the Azeron that you're talking about. I really enjoy keyboard and mouse gaming like 99% of the time. For me, it's all about like how much can I customize those binds to play in the way that I want them to play. It's like I understand that I can be pretty picky about how I like my keybinds, and because of that, I play on keyboard and mouse specifically because it gives so many options for customization for binding. That, and I just like how mice aim. I do need to be careful with how I hold my keyboard and my mouse to avoid wrist shoes. That's real. I do have to still be careful with it for sure. And there are times where like if I am not good with... Oh, okay. Sure. That's fine. If I push myself too hard, I'll end up needing to brace my wrist for a while. I have a... So I've done a couple of things to accommodate my my joints. I have essentially polymer clay, like a polymer clay molded edition that I've stuck onto the side of my mouse. I used to use a different mouse with more side buttons, but when they rolled out the rune changes and they had like the rune keybind, it became pretty clear that like if there are going to be any changes to how bow runes activate, it's not going to be soon. So I kind of had to find my own solution for that because the activation that we have right now is just awkward for my hands. And maybe that's just a me thing, and that's okay. So I chose to solve that my own way. So I got a different mouse that has a like another button very close to the left click that I could reach without having to strain too much, but it was still not quite right. And then like the mouse didn't have quite the right kind of like hand support that I needed, so I just took my old mouse and then took a mold of certain parts of it and then created a polymer clay model of it and then stuck it all together. And now I can use my current mouse. Do I have a chronic joint issue? Yeah, I do. And then also posture helps a lot. I have my chair set up in a really specific way to keep myself from doing awkward things with my elbows. And it helps a lot. And I'm very happy to, not happy, but like, I don't think that it's a problem with the game that I need to accommodate my own unique needs in that way, right? I'm very, very happy that the weapon rune has its own keybind now, because that enabled me to be able to make that accommodation for myself. So that feels like that felt real good. Mouse cosplay, yeah. My mouse is kind of cosplaying as my old Spatha. I have just never been very good at controller. Like, I'm just not good at it. And I don't know why, because I played games with a controller before I ever picked up a mouse and keyboard. I don't know, it must be something to do with how my hands work. Maybe something to do with like how proprioception works in my body. I don't know. I don't have a great explanation for it, but despite picking up a controller long before I ever picked up a keyboard and mouse, I am just not good with a controller. But I really love keyboard and mouse archery. So much. I remember so vividly, like, the first shot I ever took in Skyrim. So many hours were lost. So many hours of my life. I think different games favor different inputs. I'd much prefer a platformer with controller, but I couldn't imagine Warframe or Soulframe with them. I think probably also different players favor different inputs, right? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know that I'm the best. I don't think that I am the best person to have an opinion on that, because, again, I favor keyboard and mouse so heavily that, like, my perspective is inevitably going to be balanced. Or biased. Like, customizability is so huge for me. Excuse me, doggo. Oh my goodness. Did I over aggro? No, I didn't over aggro. There's just like a lot of people right here. How was I too slow for that? Was I too early maybe? I missed your head. There we go. Problem solved. Skyrim really was something special. I would love to see Elder Scrolls 6 in my lifetime. Maybe. I would love to see... I am happy in the game that I'm in right now. I'm very happy having made Soulframe like my home game, basically. Like, you know, as much as I'm sitting here talking about essentially like shortcomings that I see in the control interface, I'm talking about it while playing the game and spending a bunch of time in the game while thoroughly enjoying the gameplay that we have now. I think that this is I think that this is a world and a game very much worth investing in because the foundation that we have here is so strong. I wouldn't be able to spend as much time and effort and mental space on Soulframe as I do if I didn't think that it was worth it. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is a me thing, but I can't imagine wanting to spend a bunch of time giving feedback on something that I didn't care about. Right? I mean, I still want to be nice with the feedback that I'm giving, right? I don't want to be just hurling insults at people, but I don't understand the folks who are like, this game needs like blah 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 blah, and that's why I'm never gonna touch it again. Like what? What does that accomplish? I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting rambly. Do I play Warframe actively? Yes, I do. I mean, okay, I play it actively in that I play it and I log in and I do stuff. And I try to keep up with all of the frames, but I have been keeping up pretty poorly since since Soulframe came out. But I do play Warframe also. I just find it very difficult to keep up with both games. So I play Warframe as like my mental refresher, I guess. Started playing this game last month and got stuck on it. Like, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I feel like it's easy to get in stream and like talk about all of the nitpicky things that we want to see changed because we're in it all the time and well, I don't know. I shouldn't speak for other people. Never mind. I shouldn't speak for other people. For me, I talk about the things that I hope to see changed as like my prayer to the universe, I guess. I don't know. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't hoping that like maybe this gets to the devs' ears somehow. But at the same time, I genuinely don't want the game to like change to suit the tastes of specific content creators, myself included. I know that they aren't going to do that, and I would not want them to. Like, it would be so easy for me to say, like, yes, I know exactly how all of this should work, and they should just do what I want them to do, but I don't actually really want that. And like for a couple of reasons. Like, one being that, like, I am wrong sometimes. Sometimes the stuff that I think would be good is not good. Like, not all my ideas are good. But I think the much bigger reason is that, like, it's not my game. And if DE is making a game for all of its players, heavily favoring the input of any one person is just not a good look. And they know that, right? But I feel like that's important for me to acknowledge because I don't want any of the people watching to think that, like, I'm going to give feedback because I expect DE to do all the stuff that I'm saying. Like, no, I would love it if they did. I would love it, like if any of the stuff that I say ends up being a good enough idea that they're like, yeah, we should think about that. Amazing. But I genuinely, oh gosh, hold on. I am rambling so much because I'm trying to multitask and I am just not good at that. Let me finish. Oh no. No. Okay. He knows he's about to die. Sir, can you? Oh my goodness, really? There. Gamers are good at identifying problems. They aren't good at fixing them. Here, here. Nurse root. I don't think I need it though. I think that that's very wise. He said that. Iron Doom said, another YouTuber I saw recently said that gamers are good at identifying problems. They aren't good at fixing them. I think that's very wise. I think that that's very true. I think that I can definitely identify what are the things that I'm struggling with in the game and what are the things that are causing me distress. But I know that I'm not always the best at coming up with solutions for that. And I like there being the kind of dynamic that at least I think that DE is trying to cultivate with its players of like, we're going to collect a bunch of feedback and we're going to try and figure out the best development way to respond to that feedback, right? Just love Soulframe being slower paced than Warframe. Yeah, me too. I like the slower pace of it precisely because it makes bows more viable. If I'm going to be real with you. The pace of the combat for both games, I enjoy. Bella Gigi, you want to get a code to play Soulframe? Let me see. We don't have a date for the next official stream. You can usually get codes from official streams. Maggie's got you covered. Amazing. I feel like, for my own sake, I want to clearly say to the people watching me that I neither expect nor want DE to change Soulframe to suit my preferences. I don't think that that's healthy. I do want DE to take my feedback, but I don't want them to give my feedback more weight than any other player's feedback. Like, I want my feedback to count just as much as anyone else's will. And like, there's an extent to which I have to, like, recognize, okay, like, I have a platform and an audience and all of that. And, like, okay, but I still don't think it should matter. Like, I am one person playing the game of many. Body Corvus, what did I miss in chat? Let me know what I've heard, what I've missed in chat. Right? I'm obviously very passionate about giving my feedback. But at the same time, I'm giving it with the understanding that my voice is one voice. And they're going to take everyone's voices together and come up with something that works for most people. So, and I think that that's good and that's healthy and that's how they should be going about it. And I'm really content with that. I'm going to keep giving my feedback, but I just want to make it real clear to everyone that I'm giving it with the expectation that it's given as one person's feedback to be weighed alongside everyone else's equally. Like, I feel like that's so important. I don't think that I need to convince DE of that. I think that they're already doing that. But I just want it to be clear to all of you that that is my mindset when I'm giving these things. And I don't think that it is fair or healthy for any content creator to be like, well, I have such an audience, so they should make the game like I want it. Like, no. No. I mean, if I wanted a game that were exactly the way that I wanted the game, I should just make a game, right? I say that like it's so easy. I know it's actually not that easy. I'm sort of kind of trying to make a joke, but I also don't know how to ramble my way out of this little ramble, so I'm just going to ramble now. Anyway. We're heading towards the Mendicant King. I mean, I think the bottom line of that is that all of you should be giving your feedback too, which I'm sure that you are. The forums and the Discord are full of it. They're full of feedback, and it should be. Hello, Gustav. How is the hunt going? Well, we don't have any Moonsteel yet. It's been a lot of fun regardless. I just randomly threw my birds in the pathway because I forgot that I was on Oshelda and not Garen Rude, and I thought that I was sending my deer to victory. But they were birds, not deer, and the birds don't appear if you don't hit anything with them. I'm having a great time. We did a magic build that was Grace. We should do a Grace melee build. Just like round it all out. Doing Grace bow. You just got a Moonsteel Ducolic from a non-Koga Discharge Nimrod. Congratulations. That's a cool one. Let's go play. Let's do a little bit of melee. Oh no, I know what I want to play if I'm going to play melee. Yeah. Yeah! Wait, why do I have that Espadarte on? Do I not have a better Espadarte right now? That's a Navala. No, that one's not bad. I really like Venger, though. Do I already have runes and totems on this? I do. Alright, we'll just go with this, I guess. The armors in the game do look so good! This is one of my favorite combos, obviously. I think we need to do a fashion show. Oh, I haven't done Turret Jotar in a while. We should do the siege. We're like literally right here. We're literally right here. We should go do the siege. Excuse me. Excuse me. Please don't heal. Right, I don't think I actually need to do anything with these guys down here. But I've like aggroed literally all of them, so we're gonna... No. I don't know what you're about to... Oh, too late. Too late. Oh! Oh! Okay. Woo! Okay, hold on. That's not who I want to be locked onto! I want to be locked onto someone else! Aww. Okay, this might not have been the best idea I ever had. This might not be the best idea I ever had. Alright, backing up. We're gonna get strategic with our line of sights. I need to not fight in line of sight of that archer, because that's gonna be a problem. Or maybe I just get rid of him. Oh, did our runes just not do anything again? Great, I love that. I love that. Woo! Okay. Okay. Okay, a little bit better. No. Absolutely not. I will catch up with chat as soon as I'm not about to die. I don't think he's dead. I don't think I killed that guy. Yeah, I did not. Ow! There we go. Better. Okay. I don't really love how slow they are when they're so slow, because it's the timing. Oh, no! She dodged? Where did you come from? Why are you here? Oh my goodness, I can't aim this gun for the life of me. I'm so bad at aiming flintlock, it's hilarious. Bow shots, no problem, but flintlock, for some reason, I cannot hit the giant lady standing right in front of me. Do I care about this? I do not. I'll take that. Okay, okay. What did I miss? When is the new update? We don't know exactly when. So during the last dev short, Steve joked with Megan about P7 or P16 coming when she was in South Korea. But we don't know if that's like actually real or if that was like Steve kidding around. We know that they're going to talk about Soulframe during the Warframe dev stream, at least a little bit. That is supposedly going to be like a little bit of extra news, not like a full, not a full batch of information. So we don't really know yet. The bottom line is we don't really know yet. Would really like an option to cancel the flintlock ability. Agree. Like even just to dodge out of it or something would be great. Would be great. They're saying probably around the event in Korea, but we don't know for sure. I'm kind of hoping not because I had plans to go on vacation that week. It would be real sad. Maybe just after? I mean, surely they want to wait until Jeff is back from Korea, right? They would want to wait for him to be back before they did the update, right? We don't really know. How did I miss that? I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. I'm in denial. Let me be in denial. Hello, Grace. You can tell that I have not been doing enough melee combat by how this is going. All right, we need to go get these. There we go. I finally aimed one. Oh no, this is going to be a problem. Okay, so we need to like one-shot these guys. Yeah, you. There we go. I don't know that I should have done that in that order, but that's fine. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. I'll take that, and that, and that. Look at how many damage procs I have. Oh, sure. We'll do a finisher. Oh, that finisher is so cool! That finisher is so cool. Okay. Now you. How hard is it to get tickets to the Tenno VIPs? I know that in the past they've done Tenno VIP in at PAX East. What's up, Maggie? What did I miss? What did I miss? Arc question. Arc question. Hold on, I'm looking up. What is the best way to spend arcs? Packed capacity. Or, sorry, what inventory capacity. Unfortunately... Oh, it's not gonna let me go into Nightfold. Unfortunately, right now, there isn't a great option to get capacity as a free player. I think that should change. I think that should change. I think that there should be an option for increasing your inventory capacity that is possible to get with the free arcs that you get. Because I think that is the ideal first purchase. And frankly, I think that new players right now who are sitting on their 100 arcs, just like wait. Because I think that they should definitely change that so that free players have like some kind of capacity they could get. Whether it's like a half as much capacity and so it costs half as many arcs, whether it is like, I don't know, like changing how that works all together, whatever makes the most sense for them, I guess. But, it's one of the things that I like about Warframe is that you have that option early on to, buy a Warframe slot, buy a weapon slot. And I think Soulframe needs an equivalent. Is there a max level for combat arts? Well, kind of. It's not going to let me go into Nightfold right now because I am in combat. But I will hop into Nightfold and explain when I'm out of combat. Basically, you get combat arts. Oh my goodness. We need to get rid of this guy here. Okay, let's do this. Oh, wrong weapon. Okay, doggo. Oh, I missed! No! That is not who I wanted to shoot. Oh my goodness. I have to imagine that the way that target lock works in Soulframe has to be better for controller because it makes no sense on keyboard and mouse. For me, it's one of my ongoing peeves is like everything aims with my reticle until it doesn't. And then I suddenly have to change my brain to think about what my WASD inputs are doing. And it's so frustrating. Drives me nuts. Okay. So how do combat arts work in Soulframe? As you level up a new weapon of each type. So I can get level up from my Navala and I can get a bunch of combat arts, and I can level up a Espadarte and get a bunch of combat arts, and I can level up an Ivor and get a bunch of combat arts. But I can't, like, if I get another Navala drop and I level up, well, now you can't even do that anymore. It used to be that they would, your newly crafted ones would be a different level. It's not even an issue anymore. Anyway, every time you level up a weapon within its type, you get combat arts for that grip type, right? Oh, it's gonna let me go into Nightfold. Here we go. The thing is, there's no maximum right now. The maximum is just like how many of those weapons there are in game. So I have one of every weapon in the game, at least. And so this is basically how many combat arts you can get for each of the grip types. And it's a lot more than we need. They are reworking the system. We don't know yet when we're going to get it. But we are going to get it eventually. Yeah, there's a lot of long blades in this game. This is why it's like, I don't think it's purely... It's not just cope. It's not just cope that I think that the game favors melee. I mean, you can look at the combat arts on my screen. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 weapons are melee weapons, and all of them together have a huge number of combat arts. Can I show my virtues in fashion while we're here? Sure. This virtue is a hybrid build. Because melee does actually work pretty well in hybrid. This is my Oshelda build. And on Oshelda, I run full grace. And this is my melee Garen Rude build, which is Courage Spirit Split, which I was really hoping to be able to do with a bow, but alas. Does not work right now. My O Tempest build is almost full grace. I have just enough courage to be able to use Avex. My Grace Siren build. My Morris Hand build. Again, melee build, so split virtue. I really like Wake. I think it's a cool weapon. I wish that I could do the Igne Mora with Basker's Rest, but the virtues, like trying to make these virtues agree is just tough. It's tough because you got to meet that requirement for the Basker's Rest. Once we get like a wild Mora's Hand, then I'll be able to do it and it will be fine. I could probably pull it off with like virtue potions. For now, I've been running it with Courage Spirit melee weapons because we have so many of them. But I wish that the attunements for Mora's Hand, or sorry, I wish that the attunements for Basker's Rest and Igne Mora matched because they're just such perfect weapons to go together. It's a shame that their attunements don't match. My Orengal build that uses Avex right now because of Pack Hunter Wolves blocking shots. My Tathrun build that I used to get that ridiculous headshot that we did on stream. Y Spirit Hybrid for Witch, Morphe. My Romeus build. Probably noticing a theme. And then my Courage Duello. My Spirit Duello. And my Split Virtue Duello. And my Grace Duello that I'll play for like 5 minutes until the shadow starts to annoy me. And then a Grace... Oh, sorry, no, this is my Magic Siren, which is also a Grace build, but like a differently Grace build. And my Grace Garen Rude. For Mora's Hand? Oh, for Mora's Hand? Because I like it. Because between the weapons, I wanted to use Basker's Rest. Genuinely. That's really the only reason why. Is that I wanted to be able to do some decent damage with Basker's Rest, so I went for my Courage Spirit Hybrid. That's really it. That is the entirety of my reasoning there. The third ability also, like, it's good, but so are the other abilities. Especially now that that ignites, like, your Ignis Wrath does a pretty nice chunk of damage now. They have done a very lovely job of improving the scaling with Mora's Hand. So, combining the Ignis Wrath and the Ember damage is just quite great. It's real nice. And now you can still activate Ember with your Inferno, but you don't do self-damage. 6 Glow Lamprite, let's go! Of course, Maggie. Really hope DE implements a similar thing to the 75% off arcs in Warframe. Yeah, I'm sure they will, right? All right, Mendicant King. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I just really hope that they reduce the cost, like have a like half capacity maybe, that like instead of 150, because I think right now your only option for increasing your capacity is to buy, let's see how many. I think it's 150. It's 150 arcs, right? Yeah. And it increases your capacity by 50. And like, new players only have 100. So I would love to see one that increases your capacity by 25 and costs 25 arcs. Or sorry, costs 75 arcs. feel like you can buy your storage capacity for 75 arcs, and then you could have another loadout capacity for another 20 arcs, and you could have 5 arcs left over that you save for when we can trade between players. I think that'll be great. Arcs will be easy enough when we can trade arcs, yes. Once they enable trading with arcs, this is not going to be a problem, but I still think that it will be... I still think that it would be kinder to give new players a way to increase their capacity early on. Especially with all the drops that we're getting, all of this stuff, I just think that it would be better for the game. Well, that's right. You don't even have to use Inferno anymore to activate the damage buff. Just having Ember on will activate it for you now. Pretty nice. I don't think I need that. Can you see that sun? What sun are you talking about, Ali? Or Al5e? What sun are you wanting to look at? Do you mean the moon? I need to go this way. Yeah, I also maxed out my storage and I am getting close to being full. Yeah, the sky looks different right now because I'm in Koga. When you are in Koga mode, it makes the sky and everything look different. What Moonsteel am I hunting? Literally any. Literally any. I don't think... I mean, realistically, what I should be doing is going into the Undercity and just running Koga Undercity over and over again for a Maestro, a Moonsteel Maestro. But like that is going to burn me out, so I'm not going to do that. Instead... I am going to farm any Moonsteel at all and then trade with another person for the Moonsteel I want. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, they put a smile on it. Ah, no, that is the, there's like a flower symbol on the moon. We actually don't know what is up with that. You know, what is the symbol on Iridis? Why is it there? How did it get there? What does it mean? What does Moonsteel do? It looks pretty. It's shiny. I can show you my Moonsteel bow. I have a Moonsteel rostrum that I might... I'm not sure yet what my plan is for the Moonsteel rostrum. Probably going to end up in a giveaway. This is what Moonsteel looks like. My bow is shiny. It is Moonsteel. It is pretty. That's all it does. It sparkles. It sparkles. There's a flower garden inside the moon. Ooh. I like that headcanon. I would like for Trick of the Light to be as good at drawing aggro as the totems are. The totems that leave behind decoys are currently much better at drawing aggro than Trick of the Light is, and I don't love that. Oh my goodness. Sir, can you get your head to like... There we go. Thank you. I really enjoy Siren mostly as a spirit build, or as a magic build. Because, like, the big challenge that you have in magic is how long the heavy casts are. And if you can, like, keep dropping yourself into stealth and have, like, a ton of CC, it makes those heavy casts just feel way more comfortable. So I genuinely really love running my Siren magic build. I really love running... Oh, what happened? What just happened? Did we cast and then we didn't cast? How did I cancel that cast? That would be good to know for the future. That's weird. That's very strange. Had to walk away just as you finished talking about arcs cost. Just to clarify, inventory slots were the best way to spend... inventory slots are the best way to spend arcs. That is my opinion, yes, Iron Doom. If you have the arcs to spend on inventory capacity, yes, I believe that is the best way to spend them. Well, it looks like my arm is a little bugged out right now. Will the Moonsteel identifier show from the preview on the ground? Yes, it will. That has been fixed, and you can now see when you're picking up the weapon. Is there a max inventory capacity? Yes, theoretically. Supposedly it's 300, but I don't know why I have 3 extra. And I've heard that some people have even more than that, so I'm not really sure. Pentak, thank you for the gifted sub again. Yours says 319. Yeah, I've heard of people having more. I'm not sure why some people have more than others. Unclear. Oh, hello, Shrimpy. Oh no, that's gonna hurt here. Level 80 Shrimpy is gonna hurt. Wait, where is your weak point? Is it the lantern? Right, probably? No, your lantern has no collision. Okay. I guess we just shoot you in the face. Alright, whatever. Why can you interact with these lanterns to pick them up? Back when Soulframe was still in like P7, P8, the Celestit that those lanterns drop was a very rare and needed material, to the extent that like we were making guides on how to get it. And you would get it from picking up those lanterns. You get crafting material. I mean, you still get it from the lanterns. It's just, it drops from enough other sources now that it's not as essential to pick up the lanterns. It's been pretty interesting to see like what things have been rare at different times in playing Soulframe. There was a time when Blitzel was absurdly rare. I spent months trying to get my first ever Blitzel. Why are you guys all... Why, so many of you. So many sluggies. No thanks, sir. Yeah, Blitzel is definitely not rare now, but back in the day, back in my day, you could only get it from as a drop from archers. You had to get it as fragments. You needed 3 fragments. And so you would have to go kill archers over and over again and hope that one of them dropped the fragments. And the drop rate was not high. Right, maybe it's... I need you guys to not be blocking, please. I also feel like their block indicator is not super reliable. Or am I just at such a high level that they just have a ton of armor? Are you still not dead? Oh, I don't have a sidearm on this build. Whoops. All right. All right, there's only one solution for this. What do we do when we start to get frustrated with how much armor enemies have? There is one solution. Are we gonna fight the Mendicant King with a thistle? I feel like that's unwise. Let's at least put on... Let's put on a proper bow. Bromius or fire or both, indeed. I want a good maestro with enkindled on it. I think I might have to wait for the ability to customize tempers to get everything that I want, and that's okay. I'll wait. I would like this flower, please. Oh, no, it's the wrong flower. Oh, well, that's fine. Are you the right flower? You're not. Okay. Let's go. Did I just proc Bark Bear on the bell? Is the bell technically part of the Mendicant King? No thanks. Grace is too strong, friends. Oh, what did we get? What did we get? It's a noble purity. Hey, those are not the worst tempers. I don't know how I feel about from above on a purity, but, you know, for slam attack enjoyers. Amazing what a little armor strip does. Incredible. That's another place where I hope that, like, DE takes some of the feedback from the community is about, like, how armor works in Soulframe right now. Not my favorite. How do we feel about this 3-tapping level 80 Mendicant King? I mean, I don't like it. Should we, by comparison, what do we have that's up right now? We have the Wazard up. Wazard's gonna be tough, but... Should we put on a non-Grace bow build and see how it compares? I don't know that I want to do that against a boss, but here, let's take a couple of shots. Hold on. Let's do this on a build where I'm less likely to instantly die. What is the Eiflin experience, Python? Alright, so here I am on my Oshelda. We're on full Grace. And we're just gonna do like full shots, right? It was not a headshot. Alright, 697 headshots. These levels are, these guys are pretty high level, so I'm getting like almost 700 damage. A lot more against the archers because they don't have as much armor. About 660, right? That was not fully charged. That's fully charged. Okay, so 650 to 800 depending on the level, like depending on the enemy type and how much armor it has. Oh, we should have tested this with the Juniper. He took 20 minutes to kill Discharge Nimrod and then asked the chat there's no way to one-shot this guy, right? Oh no, poor Flynn. Poor Flynn. Alright, let's do this with a Juniper. We're gonna make this super fair. Let's do... I want a Juniper that has the same... We're gonna do the same scaling for Grace and Spirit so that we can't blame this on my... attunement. Here we go. This is just going to give me my shiny quick draw so that I can be sane, and Rupture basically does nothing. Not drop rate, very cool. Enemy level, increasing enemy level does not increase drop rate, but it does have a very mild increase on the quality of drops, like the craftwork tier. All right, we have 1,000 for an unalerted. That's about 535 for that headshot. $675 on this guy. We're just looking at like the base, like the average numbers that I'm hitting on my headshots right now. 676 again. We're in that same general range. Not a headshot. There we go. 536. So he had a lot more armor. Excuse you. 536, yeah. To be expected, right? The casters have less armor than the sword guys. Okay, 530. 530. And then this one should be even less. Yeah, 497. So we're looking at 500 to 600 damage going full Grace. Now, the attunement on this bow is the same for Grace and Spirit. So in theory, if I switch my build fully to Grace, or fully to Spirit, in theory, there should not be a difference in how much damage I get out of this. This is showing me the wrong numbers. Right? My total number of virtue points allocated towards weapon damage have stayed the same. I'm going to be really, really, really glassy right now because I have no armor, but it's fine. We're just demonstrating damage numbers. Surely this will be fine. Let's get an unalerted shot on this guy. Maybe? 350. We went from 1,000 to 350 unalerted. And now we're at like 600 to 300. Doesn't headshot multiplier scale with Grace? Yes, and that is exactly the point. We're talking about why we're able to one-shot and two-shot some bosses, what's making some of these like instant kills so easy. And the problem is that Grace is too strong. I'm clearly not anywhere close to the same type of damage output on Spirit. And like, I don't think it's bad for there to be an incentive to run Grace, right? Grace needs to have its advantage, but this is too much. Like this difference, this level of difference, in my opinion, is first off too much because it effectively makes other builds comparatively not viable. And it's too much because it makes some encounters just like way too easy on full Grace. And I don't think that this is what they wanted, right? I don't think they want us out here two-shotting bosses. No thanks. Like that boss like would have been instantly dead with that shot had I been on a Grace build. Like actually crazy to see how much of a difference this makes. Oh, I missed. Missed again. There we go. Like absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. So what do I think? Well, first off, I want to harken back to earlier in our conversation where we talked about how we gamers are great at pointing out the problems, but not always great at the solutions. Because I will confess that I originally thought that Grace increasing the damage of headshots was a great idea, and I was wrong. It's too much. What do I think that they need to do? I think the amount of benefit you got from Grace in P13 was more than enough. I think that the change they made to the Grace multipliers between P13 and P14 took it from this is a nice incentive but not essential to if your weapon can headshot, you should run Grace on it. And that's true for every weapon. That's why even my magic build is a Grace build right now. So I think thing number one is that the calculations need to go back to what they were in P13. I think that's the one that I use. Because if this is my go-to magic build right now, that's tough. This is what I like to run for magic at the moment. I have a virtue potion going, so I actually have more spirit. Oh, I had a virtue potion going. I use a virtue potion to get the extra 10 that I need to meet the requirement for Seathorn, put everything into Grace, because you just get so much more damage from Grace. We'll pull it out again. We'll run it. What was I going to do here, though? I think I need to remember to switch back this talisman before I forget. I should be able to make another virtue potion now. Hello. So thing number one, I think, is that at a minimum, like if they want to stick with Grace as a glass cannon and does more damage, fine. It's too much right now. We need to dial that down a bit. It's too much right now. It trivializes some encounters. Like, is it fun to like hop up and one-shot Nimrod in the face? Sure, it's fun, but I don't think we should be able to do it. Ta-da! Thing number 2 is that I think the amounts of health that you get on Grace and Spirit builds should be swapped. If the whole point is that Grace should be a glass cannon, then Grace needs to be the glassiest. Spirit doesn't get enough in CDR for the amount of health that it loses, so those need to be switched. Now, I think that Spirit probably also needs something else, because in this like super smite meta where everything is about, you know, spreading smites and sharing smites, cooldown reduction just isn't that useful. You get plenty of cooldown reduction from pulling smites. Maybe that will change when they change totems, so I don't want to say that it's always going to be that way, but I do hope that they, well, we don't have to hope. We know that they're looking at Spirit. We know that they are looking at ways to make Spirit better, so I'm glad that that is on their radar and that's something that they're working on. I think that's a good call. But I don't think, like, Spirit in Soulframe is essentially a mid-range weapon, not a long-range, so it never should have been the glassiest, in my opinion. Like, Grace should be the glassiest of the weapons. It does so much damage. Alright, what are we gonna do with our Grace build? I kind of want to go up and do Nimrod. I'm hoping Smite gets changed and plays more around parries, riposte, and other skill checks. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. I think that we've seen the Smite mechanics work as they have for long enough. I doubt that's what's going to change. I would not be surprised if our totems change, though. Surely totems will change. We get the healer? We did. Love that for us. Speaking of smites, I could use one of those right now. Thank you. $3,000 damage. 3,600 damage. Crazy, crazy. Like, Spirit can output a ton of damage, for sure, but you have to be so slow. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on. I want this to actually draw aggro, please. Thank you. Oh, you know. I don't have anything up right now. Big sad. Okay, you're done. Can we get you in the face? No, we're too high. There we go. And now it's your turn. Miss Me, hello! Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you for the raid. How are you? How was your stream? Yeah, I'm excited for Smite Explosions to be gone as well. I agree with you on that one. Don't need that. Miss Me, how was your stream? Thank you for the raid. Magic weapons haven't been practical to me since Verai lost its consecutive attack boost. I think you are thinking of Feybolt. I mean, Here's my 2 cents on this, right? Magic weapons are very, 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 very strong if you run a fully charged cast build like I'm running right now. It's very slow, but you do a ton of damage. Magic weapons have a higher damage cap, or higher virtue damage cap than bows for their fully charged casts. You can get crazy high damage numbers. It's just real slow to do it. I think that there is a conversation worth having around those like higher damage caps and how much is too much. But again, I don't think that's really the issue. I think the issue is just the grace multipliers being so high. Like, how am I doing this crazy damage with this build? How am I doing this? It is with grace. Like, that 1800 damage shot is because stealth shot. Because health shot. Oh, why are we kicking? Like, this is all grace. Grace multipliers. This is all... Now, this ends up being buggy because we don't know. Sometimes we get the grace with Pictrix powder and sometimes we don't because Pictrix powder is just buggy right now. I think that... Okay. Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday stream. I hope that it was a lovely one. And I'm so sorry for anyone who's stuck behind the ads right now. Okay. Here's my thought. Wait a minute. I want to wait for the ads to be done because I have an opinion, TM. I have a thought that I really want to share that I think is an important thing to think about. So I'm going to wait. I do have an opinion on this. And I think it is maybe one of the ways in which, like, all of us gamers can sometimes be, like stuck in the... It's hard for us to see... Well, I don't know. I shouldn't speak for anyone else. I shouldn't speak for anyone else. I should talk about, like, my 2 cents and what I think about it. I'll work my way over slowly. You speak for you, Towers. I think it's important for everyone to have their opinion, right? So, I mean... I think that there are like two kind of overlapping conversations about like how Spirit got nerfed and how it feels now, which is very similar to the conversation that I can say about like how Grace bows versus Spirit bows feel right now. And I think that's valid observation, right? You can just look in game at the numbers and see that before like in P13, all bows were doing pretty comparable damage. Grace bows did more, Spirit bows did less, but they both did enough. And then in P14, that is no longer the case. Like within minutes of logging in P14, I noticed the difference. I thought that, honestly, Spirit attunements were bugged when we first got P14. I genuinely thought Spirit attunements were just bugged and like not working, or that like maybe Spirit joinery was bugged and it wasn't applying to the weapon because that's how bad it was in the beginning. So here's the thing, right? Welcome back, Miss Me. All right, so we're talking about balance. We're talking about Spirit weapons. We're talking about without Feybolt Spirit weapons feeling less good. And look, I think that at some point we need to realize that we are, on the one hand, having conversations about how, like, spirit bows and spirit weapons feel too weak, and, like, 2 breaths later, talking about how we shouldn't be able to two-shot bosses. If we're going to get to a point where our boss fights are more engaging, or our boss fights are harder, where we have to think more strategically, where we have to deal with the mechanics, our weapons are going to feel weak compared to how they feel now. I don't fully agree, Slayer. Like, I think that, you know, we can say that spirit bows feel weaker compared to what they were. I don't think it's the same to say that they are too weak in terms of the game. I think that the hard truth is that if we want our boss fights to feel more challenging, our weapons are going to have to be nerfed. They're going to have to be nerfed, y'all. They have to be. And so, you know, our damage is going to feel sad. Low-key kind of want bows to feel more like what spirit bows feel like now. I really don't want spirit bows to get a buff. I want grace bows to get a nerf. Yeah, I would agree with that, Gustav. I think all bows should feel powerful when you hit a weak point, but not so powerful, which is again why I was saying earlier, I think that the formulas that we had in like P13 felt much better to me, because it was incentive without being overwhelming. I just don't want to deal with you right now, sir. Like, yeah, you know, I have such mixed feelings. Yeah, right. Like, on the one hand, like, it's nice to have like a big reward for being able to hit those headshots and like combine the rune and everything. And on the other hand, like, that's too much. That's too much of a reward. Like, I don't need that much reward. Those guys, on the other hand, are the opposite. I don't want to spend 30 minutes shooting a slug. I'm sorry. Slugs need less armor. Slug fights need to be more fun for how long they take. So, yeah, I think that the hard reality is that the problem isn't so much. Oh man, I mean the problems are a lot. I mean, DE knows that Spirit's in a tough place. Spirit makes me glad that it's not my job to figure out how to fix it, because I have no idea what I would do with Spirit. This idea of like spirit buffing damage types, maybe. I like the idea better of like what, like I had this very informal chat with Scott when I was at TennoCon, and he was talking about something that they are thinking about. This is not an official thing that they're definitely going to do. This is just something they are considering, is tying virtues to damage types. And I think that's a cool idea. Maybe a better way to make each of the virtues feel unique. Did you just flare? Wait, hold on. I'm watching something. Chill. That's got to be a flare, right? Surely there's a drop pod coming now? Oh my goodness, can I track you? You're right in front of me. I thought for sure a drop pod would come. Was that not a flare? I wanted that to be a flare. Oh my goodness, you can tell I'm tired. I'm starting to miss so many shots. If they can iterate quick enough to avoid long periods of bad mechanics, I'm very okay with experimentation. I'll half agree with that. I think that some like awkward periods of mechanics not working quite right is kind of what we sign up for in a pre-alpha. I think that the like what constitutes a long period of bad mechanics is very subjective, and I don't want them to rush things out and have them be super buggy. Although, you know what? My tolerance for buggy things would drastically increase if we had target dummies. I'm admittedly a little extra salty about this right now because of how much time I've spent in the last month trying to figure out what was going on with our different multipliers and totems and everything. And to finally realize that the answer is that some stuff just turns off some of the time, it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating to sit there and hit like how many 100,000 shots and be like, what is happening? This math doesn't make any sense. And it's because, no, it doesn't. It's because it's just not working. Oh, that was so frustrating. And I just would have been able to figure that out so much faster if I could like limit some of the variables through using target dummies instead of having to like group up a bunch of enemies and hope that we have like roughly the similar amounts of everything. Hi, I'm on fire right now. I really don't want to be on fire. Who's shooting me? You, sir? Absolutely not. I think that like better information about the game would give me a much higher tolerance for things being buggy and weird. Like, you know, like just more information about what stuff does in general. Like, it's getting to a point where let's take random anything. Can I not see my tempers, please? A chance to add fire damage on hit. What chance? What does the fire damage do? Increase damage and stagger during heavy attacks. How much? Restore life upon slaying a foe. How much life? Like, things like this. Oh my goodness. I want this information so bad. I don't need the fanfare right now. I would like the fanfare to go away, please. I would love to see the fanfare not play unless I'm in Nightfold. And if we need to have the little Iridus Awakens Sapping Glows thing pop up, that's fine. Just have only that part pop up. But I don't want to see the summary unless I'm in Nightfold, personally. Alright. Let me catch up on chat real quick before I run in here. Nice to meet you. Started playing this game 10 days ago and fell instantly in love. Yeah, right? I mean, this stream in particular, we've been talking a lot about like technical stuff. And yes, it's, you know, we're in a space where we're between preludes. So in this space where we're waiting for the next update, it is natural that our attention would turn to all the little details of things that need fixing in the game. But overall, I don't want that to lessen, like, overall, I hope everyone realizes how much I love this game, right? I love this game. There's so many wonderful things about it. That's why I spend so much time here. Oh, Tugun, I know what they do. I know what the Tempers do. I am aware of what all the Tempers do. I have a whole video that goes through all of them. The point of that was not me saying like, oh, I'm frustrated because I personally don't know what the Tempers do. I'm saying that I'm frustrated because this shouldn't be a mystery to the player. This information should be given to the player. Increased chance of smite. How much smite chance increase? Like I know because I did the testing to find out, but I should not have to. Players should not have to go do a bunch of testing to find out, especially when we have no target dummies with which to do that testing. I think I was gonna try and one-shot him and forgot about it. That's fine. I feel like we still kind of proved the point though, right? Ta-da! Oh, a Blitzel. No, an Avex. Nice. Oh, those are not too bad Tempers for an Avex too. We'll have to see what it rolls. I think they're going for if we obfuscate, we avoid players' optimization mentality when that's just not true. I don't know, Lotus Eater. Like, possibly, but I don't know. I don't know that we can assume that. My suspicion is that up until now, it has not made much sense to put a lot of that information in things like item cards and stuff because so many things were changing so frequently, then having to like update stuff all the time would be really annoying. And so if they know that the game is in this stage where they're constantly having to tweak things and change things, that every time they came up with an update, they would have to go back and like refigure out like all of the different things that needed to be changed with each update. Like that's tough, right? Like this way, right? With these Tempers, like if Rupture changes how much Shatter and Stagger gets added by the Temper, then they don't have to change the description. The description is still technically accurate. And I can see that rationale, right? I can see that rationale. And again, I don't think that would bother me so much if I had a reliable way to test that out and find that information as the player. I think it is the combination of not having that information written down anywhere and having no good way to discover it that bothers me so much. So I hope that eventually they will have all of these values in game, in the item cards for us to see, but I also don't mind them leaving them off while they are still balancing things so that they don't have to go back and edit every single item card in the game every time they do a balance pass. I don't think that's a terrible decision on that part. What I mind is not having any reliable way to find out for myself. So, you know, target dummies, some kind of testing tool. I know I'm harping on this a lot, but listen, I spent the last month trying to figure out exactly what totems do, and my goodness, I nearly lost my mind. I was going getting a little delulu there, trying to figure out like what was happening. And the answer is that stuff was just breaking. Like I couldn't trust the results I was getting in a lot of different stuff because a lot of stuff is just breaking. And even that is not like a huge problem in a pre-alpha. Like that's like stuff breaks in pre-alphas. That is how it goes. My issue with that was how difficult it was to figure out that's what was happening. You think the game lacks basic information? Well, sure, it does right now. Again, my argument isn't that the game doesn't need that basic information. I definitely think that it does. It's that I can understand why they might want to keep the descriptions more vague while they are still doing really heavy balance passes, right? So there is a rationale for the cards to read this way in an alpha. But there does come a point past which it's like, right now, I'm just to be real, raw and real with you right now. I don't want to do any more build videos until P16 because it's too hard to test things. I have plans for videos that I'm going to put out between now and when P16 comes out. I am still going to make content because I still love the game. I still want to be like talking about all of the wonderful things that are Soulframe. But I don't want to make more build videos because A, it's so hard right now to figure out what actually works like that versus what is broken. It's so hard to figure out, like, is this intended or is that bugged? It is so hard to get reliable results. And then if I do come up with some like really cool complex build for y'all, 30% of it isn't going to work at any given time. And so like, what is the real motivation to min-max build? Also, if you want to build a really cool build in P15, here we go. Ready? Use full grace. The end. Like, it's kind of unfortunate. But like, this is like an adolescent era for the game. We are going through growing pains right now on the way to becoming something better. So I don't feel like any of the time that we've put into learning about how P15 works is wasted. I'm still very like happy with the process that we have gone along to get to here. But I just got to a point where I was like looking at how many things were not working when we were doing the totem testing, just kind of put me to a point where it's like, well, let's just wait. Let's just wait. It's a little bit too much. P16 may change the state or balance again. I hope that it will. They have talked about it. I want to say that in the last dev short, Steve mentioned something about balance changes coming, and that's good, right? Like, that's good. The me taking a pause from balance from build videos is not about like I am like objecting and like this is how dare and like this is too bad. It's like, nope. It's just kind of acknowledging that we're in this place right now where like a lot of stuff is pretty buggy. You don't really have to min-max to be able to do the content anyway. So just play what you like playing, have fun with what's here now. And next update, it's probably going to be different. And there are other things that I am very excited to talk about in the meanwhile. There is a video that I have been working on literally since before TennoCon that I'm just holding in my back pocket of like, oh, I can't wait to put this out, a Soulframe video. And now is my opportunity. Unless they put out the dev workshop, in which case, of course, we're going to talk about that. But so it's not like I don't have things to talk about. It's not like there aren't good things in the game. There absolutely are. It's just, you know, this is probably not a great time to be analyzing Soulframe builds. Been playing Soulframe 3 weeks and I'm hooked. You can't wait for the rune and totem balance. Yeah, the rune and totem balance is going to be huge. I mean, because like a big part of a fully fleshed out build is which runes and totems you use. But that information that I would give you for runes and totems for P15, I certainly hope would not be up to date in P16. I sincerely hope. And I think they know. The one build related video that I might make if we are still waiting on P16 and I run out of other things, which is a big if, because I have like some I have a Fae lore video that I've been wanting to do. I have an Ode lore video that I've been wanting to do. So I have other videos that I really want to make about Soulframe, and I'm looking at this as like a delightful opportunity to do something a little bit different for a while. However, if I do another build related video in P15, it is going to be how to nerf me. It is going to be a video all about how I did the shot, the 3.6 mil, why that works, and what could be done to prevent that from ever happening again. Actually, you know what? It is almost time for me to wrap up. I am going to go into the Undercity. We're going to do an Undercity run, and then I'm going to raid out. I think. Get into that time where I should probably make some food. Is it really a DE game if we can't hit the integer limit on damage numbers? I mean, listen, I do love making big numbers. It is very fun. I like... yes, I did hit 3.6 mil. It is both in a short, if you want to hear the audio from the moment when it happens, and it is in my temper video, or sorry, my totem video, because it's, you know, it's basically the same stuff that I've done for all of my other crazy damage shots, plus a totem that buffs my grace. And there's chapters on the video as well, so if you want to just skip to that part. I don't feel like I need to make you guys watch stuff you don't want to have to watch. We're all here to have fun, right? I do get a lot of smites. It is because I'm using Smiting Stag and I'm not spending my rune charges. Fully charged headshots on a bow are really strong by themselves, even without the rune. So, you enjoy my videos? Thank you so much, Library Cats. I basically bank my rune charges most of the time and hold them for bosses. I mean, otherwise the fights would be too short, right? Like... Oh, if I aim, hold on. You don't even have a full HP right now, sir. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. That's not that button anymore. Oh, on that video. Yes, the 3.6 mil video. Yeah. So that is almost certainly not intended. Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell. This is one of those things where, like, is it intended? Is it not? Because Sprout Spring theoretically does that on purpose. I don't think it's intended that you're supposed to be able to do it without Sprout Spring, but yes, if you use Spreading Sploot and like you're the client in a squad, you can see and pull all the smites from everyone else in the squad. So I got all those smites by being in a squad, and someone in my squad procced the smite. I mean, if you want to know, okay, so how did that work? I was on a full Grace Tethrin build because Grace is just so strong that even on Tethrin you still want to use full Grace. I used Noble Nestling at first to buff my courage enough so I could get 6 stacks of Fellust. Because we had done the math a while back on how much do you get from Fellust versus just having more Grace, in terms of like the virtue points that you have to put in to get enough courage to get more Fellust charges versus how much extra damage you get from your headshot multipliers. And we discovered that once you can get 6 stacks of Fellust, you don't need any more because you're better off putting all the rest of your points into Grace. I remember in your interview that they mentioned that they do Soulframe with us. They do play Soulframe, but honestly, I'm not sure how true that is. Oh, I'm sure they do. I mean, I see them online in-game all the time. I have a couple of DE folks on my friends list, and I do see them playing the game, Gustav. No, I totally understand why you're saying that, right? I think, okay, if I'm going to... I have guesses, but it doesn't feel good to me to make those guesses. Because I really just don't know what they're doing and what they're not doing, right? Like, I don't know. I don't like making assumptions based on very little information. I know that they do play. But like, but making stuff is hard. Says the YouTuber. Making stuff is hard. They have to spend time like in the code of the game actually working on the game too, right? And so I'm sure they do play it, for sure. But do they play it as much as like me? Almost certainly not. Does that mean that my opinion on the game is more valuable than theirs? Also no, because I don't represent the average player. I represent someone who is completely obsessed with the game and no-lifes it. I do wonder very often about what percentage of the developers play on keyboard and mouse versus controller, and of the developers who play with different interface devices, what weapons they favor. But I don't feel comfortable speculating anything past that because I don't know the answer to that, and I don't think it's fair to make those kinds of guesses. But it is something that I think about and wonder about a lot, for sure. I don't know, I guess I gotta remember that like my subjective opinion of things does not represent the whole of how gamers engage with the game. I don't know, I'm getting rambly. You can tell that I'm hungry because I'm getting rambly. It's a tree fell. I don't think I need that. Catching up on chat again. Especially when they have a dev build. Yeah, like they have a whole dev build that they also need to be playing in. They need to be working on like actually making the changes and implementing stuff in the game. I don't think it's realistic to expect them to play Soulframe as much as we do. But they do play it. They definitely do. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't share that concern. Especially since we know that they do also listen to player feedback about things. So if there are things that any of you watching are like, we definitely need to get their attention about this thing, put it in a feedback thread, put it in like in the forum, put it in the Discord, put in a support ticket. If you find a bug, if you find something that doesn't seem to be working correctly, like tell them about it. I'm sure that feedback is also getting tough for them to keep up with now with so many more players that they have, but it's a wonderful problem for them to have, huh? They made sure to mention that they actually play with us on public builds. Well, they're not on right now, but I promise you, I see them online. I see them online in game. And I also have a very small handful of DE folks on my friends list, like very, very small handful of like these specific community people who have publicly like added people. It's not a special like me thing. It's just like some of them are really nice and will add you as a friend, right? Like, and I see them online for sure. I see them playing the game. So like 100% I guarantee you that they do play. That they are not misleading us about that. If I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I'm like, oh, I should invite them to a squad, but then I don't because I'm like, oh no. If I do that, Senpai might notice me and then I'll die. I can't. Yeah, Gustav, that's on me though. Like I have also been told by at least one of them that it's fine to invite them to a squad when I see them online on the public build, and I just get too nervous. I'm gonna be real. I'm like, oh no, they must be working. I don't want to bother them. So I just wait for one of them to be streaming and then I bother them when I stream. But yeah, so the point being they do play the game. It is actually something that I think about quite a bit is like how much does my experience of Soulframe... Oh, wait, no, that's not the kick button. There we go. How much does my experience of Soulframe track with like the average players? And I imagine probably not very much. Of course, Gustav. I mean, I think in any... I don't know, maybe more than I would think. I don't know. I am very glad that DE uses statistics from their players to figure out what needs attention versus than just listening to any single part of the demographic. Because there are, I'm certain, a ton of people who play the game and don't get online and give a bunch of feedback, who just kind of play, have their experience, and then move on with themselves. And I think it's very important to be looking for metrics from that demographic as well as from those of us who are very vocal. Like if we want the game to grow and be better for everyone, we need it to be... Are you saying in here, Burb? We need it to be improved for everyone, not just for the people that yap about it, like me, right? I think I'm going in circles, chat. Bird, why did we need to go up here? I'm not going back in there, bud. No thanks. I think my bird's lost. I think it's a valid point to like want to give me feedback and not give negative. I feel the same way, right? Like I don't want to be negative in the way that I want to give my feedback. I do want to be critical. I think that being critical is important, but I think that you can be critical and still be constructive and still be positive with the way that you do that. So what are the things that I try to look for in what I'm doing that? Here's a really easy example for like how I try to balance being critical with being kind and constructive. What is the number one thing that drives me crazy in Soulframe right now? Just absolutely drives me up the wall. Like my number one peeve, subjectively, this is not what I think is most important for the game. I know it's not the most important for the game, but it is the thing that drives me personally, Sarah, absolutely up the wall. It is the bow. It is absolutely the bow reticle. It drives me nuts. Absolutely makes me nuts, right? So how do I make sure that I am being critical but also kind in the way that I talk about it? Is I hold space for the fact that there's a good reason that it was added to the game, that it does good things for melee combat, that I see what the devs were going for there, that I understand why it's implemented and why it is good and helpful for some parts of the game, and I point out the ways that it is interfering with ranged combat and why it ends up frustrating me. And I keep that criticism aimed at the system and the mechanics and I try not to think about, you know, who did this and why. It does not matter. It does not matter. What matters is collecting information about how it interacts with how I play the game, talking about the parts of it that are good and the parts of it that are not, and offering that as feedback and hoping that the devs can transform that into something that will feel good for everyone who plays. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna hit this headshot while he's still. There we go. And now, let's do that. It is definitely oddly placed. It's not that it's oddly placed, it's that it... The melee combat has this dynamic camera thing that lets you, like, helps you see what you're fighting better. It's very good for melee combat. It's pretty awful for ranged combat. When they added it to Soulframe, melee needed more help than ranged. Melee was in a place where they really needed something to make melee combat feel better, so I think that it was a good thing for them to pay attention to that and to work on that and to make melee combat feel better for melee players. I think that was a good choice. I would love for that pendulum to swing back in the other direction now and say, like, okay, we made some improvements with melee, let's take another look at range and let's see if we can make range feel a little better now, because yeah. Yep. That's exactly it, Gustav. That sometimes your bow aim is like in the middle of your character. Casting certain arcanics also seems to make that happen, although primarily when they actually directly hit people. I believe it's when you directly hit something with Bestone, or is it also with Phantom Flock? Let's find out. Not Phantom Flock. Some of the time. I imagine part of the reason that it's still in the game is that it's hard to replicate, right? There we go, right? Bestone, direct hit, and now look at where my reticle is. I can't see this guy to shoot at his face, and then I have to wait for my bow to readjust before I can actually see my target. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. But I can have that experience of that mechanic and still hold space for how good the combat camera is for this, right? Anyway, why was I rambling about that? I was rambling about that to give my 2 cents about how I feel it is. How I feel that we can be critical and still be kind and be constructive. And I think a lot of it is also just kind of taking changes in good faith. Something I would like for bows is improving the melee bow experience. We did talk quite a bit about that earlier on in the stream about wanting to split up bows into subtypes so that there's a subtype of bow for melee bows and then a subtype of range bow, because I don't have any objection to melee bows being able to play melee bow. However, I do not like how hard it becomes to make a ranged bow build, do ranged bow things when we have to fight with face, fight for space with the melee bow. If you want to see maybe I'll post like a timestamp or something in the description if you want to see the that full part of the discussion. But we did get like really, really into it earlier today. And if you can't tell, I'm starting to get loopy because I need to make some food. So I think what I'm going to do is say a very big thank you to everyone on the YouTubes who have been watching and hanging out with me today. I'm going to end that stream, and then I'm going to find someone to read out on Twitch. So, I stream on Twitch every Thursday starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, right after prime time. And I, in theory, now am multi-streaming every weekend. So hopefully this will become a regular thing. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all so much. And yeah. For the YouTube folks, hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope we all get some really great news about P16 this week. And until next time,